Hi there, this is Tyler, and I am here at Gauntlet Open Gaming, and we are playing Monster of the Week, The Silence of the Woods. This is a Monster of the Week story. Excellent game, phenomenal game, one of my favorites. I'm here, as I say, playing with the Gauntlet, which is a wonderful place if you want to play with folks who are generous and kind and love gaming, love the hobby we all share. Please come find us. It's gauntlet-rpg.com. You can find everything you want there. Come in. We run games every month, and we run a lot of them. We have a zine that comes out called Codex, where amazing games are being made, all original games. Some of them are even getting up there and getting awards. We have designers here, just an amazing group of folks, and very welcoming. Love to have you join. And as I say, we're playing Monster of the Week, which is kind of think of maybe Supernatural or X-Files or a show like that, where people are going off and they're dealing with supernaturally monster things. And we're in a world where those sort of things do exist. They're not widely known, but a lot of folks have encountered the weird. So it's probably a little more believable than in our real world. And I've got a group of players who I am so happy to be playing with, and we've already gone over our safety tools, which just for folks at home, we're using the X card. We've got a lines and veils. We also have the Gauntlet Code of Conduct. Safety is always important in gaming. I urge everyone watching, use safety tools in your game. It makes it better. Now, we're going to introduce our players, and I'm going to go around, and I'm just going to go clockwise from me on my screen. Tech, why don't you tell us about your character?
Hi, I'm Tech Ghoul, and I am playing the Snoop playbook. My character is Chase Stone, who runs a paranormal investigative journalist group, and I'm here to investigate this mystery.
Excellent. Well, would you mind running through your playbook moves?
Yeah, certainly. So I have Celebrity. At the beginning of each mystery, I roll weird, and I take either hold 2 or hold 1 forward to have someone recognize me as a late night cable star, and be sympathetic and happy about that. We'll fix it in post so that anything I can use anything I could conceivably have recorded as evidence for to investigate a mystery. So I can check with previous footage and sound, and then press accreditation. When I investigate a mystery, give me just a sec. By talking to witnesses or interviewing locals, I roll charm instead of sharp.
Excellent. Awesome. Elise, why don't you introduce your character?
Hi, I am Tony, the professional. That is short for Tonavara, although no one in this town seems to know that. I'm a little bit of hired muscle, so sometimes, occasionally, if people get their ginseng patches messed with, they might call me to find out who did it, if they haven't caught the person already. My playbook moves are, let's see, bottle it up. If I want to, I can take up to +3 bonus when I act under pressure. For each +1 I use, the keeper holds 1. That hold can be spent later, 1 for 1, to give me -1 on any move except act under pressure. I'm also a tactical genius. When I read a bad situation, I can roll cool instead of sharp. And I'm unfazable, which is a +1 to cool.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And Sarah Bell, can we introduce your character?
Hey, so I'm Sarah Bell. I am playing Abigail, Abby Collins, and I think she works at the local historical society by day and is a researcher and camera person at night, actually going out there and actually learning the weird stuff that's going on here because nobody else fucking cares.
And your moves?
I am taking Connect the Dots at the beginning of each mystery. I can roll to either hold 3 or hold 1 to essentially ask questions to see how things are connected, because she sees things that others don't. I am also taking Suspicious Mind. So if someone lies to me, I know it. There's no roll. I just know it. And I'm also taking Contrary. So when I seek out and receive someone's honest advice and then do something else, I get experience. If I do the exact opposite, I get +1 ongoing.
Very nice. I love it.
You're stuck with me, Jack. You're stuck with me.
It sounds a little bit like we have kind of a local feel to the group. Tech, I'm going to ask you, Chase. Now, with your show, do you feel like you and let me get. I'm so bad with names. Abigail. Do you think that the two of you travel kind of the area, or do you just do stuff here in town?
I would feel the area. Chase has aspirations of glory as well. Maybe we have a spot in late night cable, and they're mostly making fun of us in like a bigger area, but I don't really know that.
I love it. It's like Chase has aspirations for glory. Abigail has a beat up like pickup truck that they can just load shit into.
Yeah.
And you pay for gas. So.
Right.
Fantastic. And since you're all kind of local to the area, then you have all heard of the Witch of Summer Creek. Do you think that I'll go around. Sarah, do you think that Abigail was she born here? Is she a long-time native, or did she move here?
I think she was born here, but her family lineage is not that long. Like maybe her grandparents moved in. Like this is the 90s, so maybe like recession move.
Okay, excellent. How about you, Chase?
I think maybe a similar thing. I think Chase had a more legitimate television job earlier in life. And still that it might not have been that legitimate. He might have been like a weatherman or something non-investigative, but moved here to save on funds, but also chase the dream, right? Like focusing money on camera, sound equipment, that type of thing.
Is that your brand? Chase the dream?
Chase the dream.
Oh, I love it. Can I make a suggestion, maybe, Chase?
Yeah.
That, you were, Lexington, Kentucky would have been a big city that's fairly close by. Maybe you were a reporter and more investigative, but you started getting into the stuff people were like, oh, we can't be putting up crazy stories.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I didn't see it coming. Let's say I didn't see the wall coming and they were like, we can't have you here anymore.
Yeah. Perfect. Elise, what do you think? Are you, let's see, Tony, yes. Are you native here or are you a transplant?
So I used to be a cop in a city in the West Coast. But I saw some paranormal activity out there and nobody believed me. So they kicked me off the force, disgraced. And that's when I moved out here for a little chase of someone who would believe me.
Nice. Okay. So you've probably not been here terribly long.
I have not been here terribly long. No.
Cool. All right. I like it. So I think for you, Abigail, you probably have the deepest knowledge of like the Witch of Summer Creek. But even like with your grandparents being the ones that came here. So, I mean, it's not recent. There's still that kind of, they're a new family. So what you've heard, what you understand about this is, first off, people don't think there's a witch. They don't think there's a person out there in this valley. It's more of there's a place that is weird, bad things happen, no one should go there. Mm-hmm. And you've got an idea, it's to the south. But they don't talk about even where that valley is. So you'd have gotten rumors about it, and it's off down south. Don't go there, that sort of thing. But pinpointing it, even growing up here, like the kids are told just don't go south. They're not told how to find it. And the only folks that you would have any inclination would, have some knowledge about, there's the McLean family that lives down south, but there's only one of them left, Granny McLean. And she is old. And the kids that you grew up with, they say, if there's a witch, that's the witch. But she's, she's the only person who even lives towards that direction. And that family used to be huge. They were here back before the United States formed. They have just acres and acres back there. And that's what you know of down south. And that's the direction that they talk about the witch of Summer Creek. Okay. Now, all of you also are probably aware that hikers go missing in the hills. I mean, they go missing in the hills everywhere in the hills. That just happens. But maybe Chase, you would be, well, Chase and probably Abigail working together. You're probably aware that these hills around Dalton probably more go missing than normal. Every year, a few go missing.
Is there like a missing hiker impound lot in town that's like growing?
Yeah, and you get
the old cars.
And there's posters that are there from years back, still stuck on buildings of have you seen, where the family would come into town looking for whoever. And maybe you, Tony, having kind of a police bent, you could tell. Now, there's only the sheriff. There's Sheriff Richard Cole and his deputy, Mavis Turnbull. Now, Mavis, she's a big city cop. She came in from the East Coast. She's a tough as nails, in her 50s lady. Only been here maybe 6 or 7 years. But old Cole, he's been around forever. Family's been around forever. He's been sheriff for 20, 25 years. And you could get the impression that Cole doesn't really go looking super hard for people when they go missing.
I don't think Tony and Cole get along very well.
I can see that happening. And I think that since we're all there, and I think, Chase, probably you would have gotten a letter for your group, so you and Annabelle, from William Coates to say, hey, I'm looking for Billy, my son. I'm willing to pay your expenses plus more. Whoa. If you would just find out what's happened. I can't get any sort of help from the police. He will have forwarded a copy of the letter that Billy sent home to him 5 years ago, says I just received it a month or so ago. The sheriff there just is no help to me at all. I have arranged for someone in the area who has a very good reputation for providing protection, who you can work with. And Tony, you would have received a letter from William Coates offering you a job protecting some investigators who are looking for his son. Says that he's from California. And when he was looking through his contacts there, your name popped up as someone who might be willing to look into the weirdness that this is all about.
Yeah.
He doesn't imply that he got, if you want somebody who'll go look at weird shit, then it's definitely going to be Tony. But you might could guess that your old friends back there would have hinted at that. But he's offering you, I think he's offering you like $15,000 to protect these people and help find his son.
In 95?
For that. Yeah, Tony's in.
And he would have sent you the dossier on the group, which shows has a picture of Billy. He's very camera ready, handsome, blonde, bulky muscles. Ghost Adventures guy, if anybody's ever watched that show, kind of not great investigator, not particularly bright, but boy, he's pretty sort of guy. That's Billy. But with him is Sarah Gamble, who is a kind of a smaller, thin woman, glasses, and looking at her the dossier given to you. She studied extensively anthropology. She studied local folklore type things. She's probably the brains of the group. They've got Steve Barnwell, who is a 30s good shape tech guy for them. He's a handsome African American guy, looks athletic, and he not only would be like camera and stuff. In this dossier, you see that he has an engineering degree and probably does like the EMP things and all the little ghost hunty tech bits. And then finally is John Verner, who's in his 50s. And the picture you see of him, he's got on like a safari hat, and he's got, one of those vests with stuff hanging off of it. He's leaning against a rifle. And 10-1, he's the guy that William Coates hired to watch over his son in that first one. He looks like somebody who could handle himself, both in the woods and, in a fight.
Tony takes one look at the picture of Billy, who's the leader of the crew, and just Tony shakes their head and is just like, no wonder this crew is missing.
So with that dossier in hand, and you're told that you are to meet up with Abigail and Chase and who is your other crew? Have you named your other crew members?
I think we have a really lean crew. Do you think should we have NPCs? I mean,
if you want to have
maybe one more guy.
Yeah. Okay. How about a like a
lighting person?
I was gonna say a producer that's kind of like pushy and isn't really committed to the cause at all. Like is very concrete and like straightforward and like, let's do this at this time, whatever. And they're already looking at their next thing. They just want to put
He's a logistics guy that definitely gets hired on multiple projects. This is just another paycheck.
Right.
And someone who probably stays in the van, right? Gets the feed, makes sure things, but he's
just like, cut back when you're done.
Yeah.
Nothing extra.
Cool. So you would have gotten their name, Tony, as the people you're supposed to meet, and I think you've probably been in town long enough to know them, at least in passing. So I'm going to ask a question. I think we've seen there's a relationship, Annabelle and Chase. Y'all know each other. You're friends. You've been on stuff all together.
Yeah.
But Tony, which one of those two have you encountered out in the town? Do you think most? Who is the one you've dealt with the most?
I think I've probably encountered Chase a lot. I think I probably respect his ambition, even though I don't necessarily agree with it.
You talk about that you came because you encountered weird things. Do you think you've talked with Chase about that?
I imagine we did. Discuss that. I think Tony is pretty guarded about where they came from. Doesn't share their secret about that too much, but I think Tony would have hinted that they believe in the same kinds of things as Chase.
But you've been in the shit. You know what is going on.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Then I think I'm going to start us in scene as Tony, you walk into where the crew has their kind of like an office, you think, Chase? Would it be an office or a front or something?
Yeah, maybe a store, a formerly closed storefront that the rent is quite affordable, but also I may or may not have a cot in back, right? Like,
perfect.
It's like, don't go in the back room.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's a mess back there.
All right. Tony, you walk in and see the three of them busy about things.
Does your crew have a name?
Our show definitely has some kind of weird pun-ish name, I think.
So what was the chase thing that you just... I thought that was funny.
Chase the dream?
Chase the dream? Or should the dream be a monster thing? Chase the... I don't know. Chase the dream I kind of like, but it doesn't imply...
It doesn't really
like
quite.
Supernatural. Chase the supernatural?
Ooh,
Hey!
nice.
Chase the unknown.
Chase the
I
unknown
love it.
is perfect.
That's it.
Then.
There we go.
Love it.
So I think I come in and I'm like, hey, Chase the Unknown. I think we got a job to do together.
Tony, how's it going? Heard something about that.
Hey, Chase, long time no see.
Glad to be working with you.
Is this the person that we're supposed to go with?
Yeah, I believe so.
You
Tony...
told me there was another person, and I never met this person. So.
Oh, how rude of me, Abby. This is Tony. Tony is going to be helping us out in the woods with woodcraft.
With woodcraft.
Woodcraft, and do you have like a shotgun? Like
I'm loaded down.
Yeah.
I'm loaded down. So my gear, I have like a long cloak to cover my gear, but I'll tell you what I took with me. I have a sniper rifle, a shotgun, a knife, and combat armor.
Wow.
Nice.
One person will live, and it's you.
And fortunately, Kentucky is an open carry state, so you can walk around with it all you want.
Yeah, I am quite obvious.
Get a jacket?
I'm not trying to hide anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I opened my jacket and it's just like rows of weapons.
Fuck.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but who's the name of the gentleman who hired him? Not Billy Coates, but who's the elder Coates? William Coates. Oh,
it's the same thing, but
right.
But older.
William Coates arranged for some protection for us. I wasn't going to say no, and it can't hurt to have another set of eyes.
Yeah, I don't think we would go missing like those guys.
No.
Tony, like,
and there's just a look of like, what do we though? we are snooping in some like heavy shit.
Well, I think we've crossed paths with the mysterious before. We're experienced.
And I think we have a couple of folks with some start of session moves. So, and let me give us our roll for your party room, which if you have not used before, it's a lovely little roller. It has one quirk, I should say, that once you roll, wait a second, because it has a habit of rolling those dice a little extra. And it can be quite annoying when that great roll suddenly turns into a 6. But Sincerely Fair Crow is our roll for our party room. And
also, you're being really generous on the 6. I've definitely rolled a 1 on 2d6 before.
Oh.
It's something to behold.
All right. Do we all see the roll for your party?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Chase, I believe you have a start of session.
I do. So I'm going to do 2d6 here. Submit.
Mm-hmm.
8. So I take 1 forward for someone recognizing me. Is that... Or I'm rolling weird, but I don't think that bumps that.
What was your roll?
I rolled an 8, and my weird is +1, I believe.
Yeah,
so
9.
Yeah, 9. So 1 forward?
Yep, you're going to hold 1 forward for people to recognize you and be happy about that. Let's see if I can...
Oh, do they have to be happy about it?
They do. They're fans. I mean,
okay.
They I guess they at least recognize us.
Let's see. Just trying to... There we go.
Right.
Okay.
I also have to roll some dice.
All righty. And in the future, if you want, I'm going to move your dice down a little bit, Chase. You could just highlight them and reroll selected, or you can all use the same dice. I don't care.
All right. Everything's just really slow on my end.
Ooh. You rolled a 4.
I rolled a 4. That's some numbers. And that's plus sharp, so it's still a 6.
Now, the question is, it's early going, but do you feel like this is the one that's worth spending a luck on?
No.
Nope.
No.
All righty. So, let's see. That's a fail.
There's
And
nothing on the move for fail conditions, but that doesn't mean you won't do bad things to me.
it does mean that I have a hard move here. I think that as you're thinking about this, that you're kind of you've been hired on here. This Coates guy, they disappeared back then. You've gotten the letter, so you know it's about the Summer Creek. They must have run afoul of Granny McLean. I mean, she's crazy. They say she's a witch. I mean,
Because she is a witch. She's a fucking witch.
it would be surprising if even if she doesn't have special powers going down into her land, she could have shot and killed them. But it's in your mind, the first thing you think is they ran afoul of that old lady, and that's probably what got them.
Because she's a fucking witch.
Fucking witch.
I know. I know. Abby, from when she was 8, was yeah, this is it.
Excellent. All right. And I'm going to do, just before we get rolling further, I'm going to check our lines and veils and run over them real quick. Our lines in this one is harm to children and sexual assault. That just period will not be in our game at all. Our veils we have are alcoholism and suicide, meaning they exist in our world. They can exist in our story. We will not focus on them. We would fade to black. They will not be an emphasis of our story. I certainly don't see any problems with that, with any of those being brought in at all. So, Tony, you've got that dossier. Do you show everybody?
Yeah, I think is Abby weirded out by me? Is she keeping her
to the guns?
Fuck. No, I don't think she's uncomfortable by guns, period. That's a lot of fucking guns, though.
It's a lot of guns. Yeah, it's a lot of guns. And knives and armor. Yeah.
So I think if you pass the dossier over to her, she'll take it and just yeah, those aren't going to do anything.
How do you respond to that, Tony? She's just sort of all your armament?
Yeah, some of these are maybe modified in a way that you don't see.
We got a lot to talk about on the ride there.
We should. Should we get going?
Oh my god.
Where would y'all like to go?
So I want to check. Would it be appropriate and meaningful? I mean, I would like to get some background interviews in town. Could we check around with some folks here to see if anyone's willing to talk about having seen the group, and then maybe some general disappearance info? Does that sound right? Sound okay?
Yeah.
Where do you think you want to go, Chase? You've got, there is the sheriff's office. You're at least aware that he was told about it.
Yeah.
And always something there at the newspaper historical society library.
Yeah, let's. I think so. Here are a couple things I would think. Let's see if there's a place where they might have eaten, or a store. Maybe even the same folks are working there still. Run by, and I definitely check out the police and or the historical society. What do you think, Abby? You're really the more of the brains of this operation.
All right, so if you want to look for information regarding the hikers, we can definitely check the historical society. There's probably records of all the disappearances, if not police reports. If you want to figure out what's up with Billy and the sorts specifically, he had friends. Friends that probably still give a shit about him. I don't know.
Well, they weren't from here. They traveled in.
They were not from here.
No, They came in. Coates he lives somewhere probably northeast.
So we're more local than they are in some way.
Oh yeah. They came in to investigate this and just disappeared.
Precinct, I think, would be the best start. Again, pulling those records for everyone that's disappeared. And they did file a police report. Police don't do shit, but
yeah,
they did technically have to look at it for a couple minutes. So
sounds good. Yeah. I'm going to let's head over there if everyone's okay with that.
Want to go as a group or y'all splitting?
I think we go as a group. I think we're hired to go around as a group.
Okay.
If they give us any trouble, they look big and scary.
So y'all head over to the police station.
Yeah.
It's a small place. Think Mayberry. You got a front office with a couple of desks in it. You got a hallway that leads back to 2 cells that are just those basic cage cells. And then, there are a couple of rooms off there, like a break room and an interrogation room. But we're not talking a big police precinct. As you arrive, it's right near right in the center of this little bitty town. And it's got a wooden door with the big glass front that says Dalton Sheriff's Department and Sheriff Richard Cole underneath it. And as you come in, there's a bell. Ching, 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 ching. And you come in and you see Mavis sitting at the desk. And she looks up and she's like, "Hey, can I help you?"
Do we know her? Do I know her name?
Yeah, you certainly, those of you who've been in town, the 2 cops. And I think, Tony, you would have had a moment or two to at least check in.
Yes, I know Mavis.
Okay.
Tony,
Hey, Mavis.
Going hunting?
Well, you know me. I'm always hunting.
That's some mighty heavy firepower to be walking around downtown in.
Well, it's all legal, I assure you.
Of course, it's all legal. Chase, Abigail.
Mavis, I'm wondering if the sheriff's in. We're actually here on official Chase the Unknown business today.
No, I'm sorry. Cole's out patrolling.
Interesting. You remember that group of folks that came through town about 5 years ago? Kind of a film crew, investigative crew?
Yeah, I just I hadn't been here long. Went disappearing out in the hills.
Yeah. Do you have the report on them available?
Well, I gotta tell you, I can't just hand out reports willy-nilly and all that.
So I think Tony steps up to Mavis, and Tony's like, "Come on, Mavis, you know what this is about."
All those guns.
Why don't we get a manipulate someone roll? I think you've got the, this kind of leverage. You've got a little of that police feel to you. And, Mavis is, as far as a stand-up cop. She'd want to know something, figure out something. So you're rolling with charm.
Okay.
We see each other.
I don't know what I just did.
let's see. You rolled a 3.
Oh boy.
Oh gosh.
And what I'm going to do is I'm pulling our dice to where they're separated a little bit.
Yeah.
And as I said before, you can, from here on out, you can just highlight them and hit that green button up there in the middle at the top.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And it's, I'll say this early on, but a luck, and you got 3. I mean, heck, it'd suddenly be a 12.
Yeah, I'll use a luck. I want what she's got.
Excellent. Well then, she goes, well, Tony, I guess for you, I can bend the rules. You can't take anything, but maybe I can. And she pulls out of the filing cabinet behind her a folder. She says, "Oh, I think I need some coffee." And she goes walking back towards the break room.
Yes.
Nice. Yes.
Thanks.
You open it up, and looking in it first off, you see where the report was made by first William Coates that they were missing, and you could see where Cole went to where they were staying, and they were staying at the Pineview Lodge. Looked in their rooms, didn't find them, but in the report it says that there was still parts of their luggage there. And he writes down, that they're missing. You see that a follow-up to that is that they canvassed the area, asking if people had seen them. The reports are that they were, and this is obviously Cole, Cole writing this. He says, sticking their nose in about different things, looking to go into places off the trails, exhibiting reckless behavior, that sort of thing. Then you see there's a gap of about a month where we get another thing in where Gamble's family has called to ask about this, and it is a much shorter thing where Cole goes and he canvasses again, says, haven't found anything out. Possible that they went into trails that they shouldn't have, and at that point he contacts State, and it's written down there that State comes in with a helicopter to do the entire area looking, and he sets out from there an alert to any hikers in case they see anything, but he hasn't told anything of where they might have gone. It's just in the area. So the State would have just circled everywhere in this massive area. Another couple of weeks, we get where the Barnwell family has hired a private investigator who comes into town. And Coates describes him as a Yankee sticking his nose where he shouldn't be.
Whoa.
Discusses his, puts in there about his abrasive, style. Talks about that, the locals making complaints that they've seen him trespassing in certain areas. And then there's a kind of just like scribbled at the bottom, visited old lady McLean.
Huh.
What the fuck did I say before?
Witches.
Then we get a good long stretch of about 2 years before there is just added in, and it's added in by Mavis. Found abandoned vehicle.
Huh.
It's located on McLean property, and she gives an address. Found on a dirt road. Abandoned, seems to have been abandoned for some time. It's a rental, and she ran the plates on it. It is registered to a Billy Coates, and that investigating inside of it found some equipment, found some supplies, some hiking gear, but that from the look of it, it was left there and she, like I say, gives the place of where it is, and then you see written up underneath it by Cole, vehicle brought in to check down, found nothing unusual, returned to rental company, and that seems to be the end of what they've gotten.
I have a film camera with me. I'm gonna snap some photos of this for our B-roll.
Yep.
And I think Mavis is pretty good at her job. So there's probably also like where she printed out a map, and you could see where she wrote in where the vehicle was found. It's off the highway and down probably like a logging road to the south of Dalton. For you, certainly, Abigail, this is further south than people are supposed to go. It's on the outskirts of the McLean land. It's certainly not down the road that goes to Granny's. If anything, it skirts like where that homestead is and travels a little further south. And back in there is just wilderness. Nobody goes there.
All right, here's the thing. Does Coates want to know where his son is, or does he want his son back? Because those are two different things.
He wants you to find him or find out what happened to him. And I think that there's an element of, after all this time, that may mean finding like his remains, or they're finding something terrible. But he definitely wants some proof of what happened.
This is good. This is really good material.
It's good material for the show.
Yeah.
Not great for our lives.
What?
Tony's shaking his head at Chase, like, not everything's about the show.
I think this is going to be good for all of us.
And about that time, you hear from the hall, kind of like letting you know she's walking back. And Mavis comes in with a coffee cup. She's got a mug that says "fuck off" on the side of it.
Yes.
Yeah, Mavis.
And she's drinking. She's like, is there anything I can do to help you out? She looks where the folder's kind of open and kind of casually lets her eyes drift away from it.
I'm going to attempt to use my move press accreditation.
Okay.
I'm going to see if Mavis knows anything else, or if there are any details about the car that she remembers, with a quick micro recorder interview.
Okay.
So I roll charm instead of sharp to do an investigate.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Let's have you roll that.
All right. So my charm, if I can get my charm.
2.
Yeah, 2 charm. That's my
Nice.
good trait. So my roll. Got a 10 plus 2.
Oh, fantastic. All right. So with Investigative Mystery, you get 2 hold. You can, I think, probably have to use them here. I don't see holding on to them for later. I'll read out real quick for everybody at home, but you should have the moves there with you. You can ask, what happened here? What sort of creature is it? What can it do? What can hurt it? Where did it go? What was it going to do? And what is being concealed here? And again, these will be kind of in the fiction, in the sense of like what she knows.
Sure. So I'm trying to be charming. I'm like, Mavis, I just want your insight on this, but what am I missing here? What did you really see at that car?
And she kind of looks down at your recorder, and she's like, well, it was an abandoned car, and she kind of puts her head towards her. How about off the record, Chase?
That's fair. I want you to be comfortable. We're friends.
I'll tell you, it was a little strange. The sheriff didn't seem to think it was that odd, but it looked like they'd gone out there to hike, but they had all this equipment. But like they'd taken some stuff. You could tell there were like cases where they'd taken out cameras and equipment too. They had packs that were there full of like food and water, but my guess is they'd probably taken some other packs with other things. It looks like they were loaded to bear. They didn't look like your normal hikers. Like they really were looking for something. And well, this may be strange, but when I opened up the van, it was like full of flies, just full of them. And the windows were all closed. It was completely sealed up. And it wasn't like there was anything for them to be eaten in there. Everything was sealed.
And this was
out of them.
This was a good spell later, right?
And they've been missing for almost 2 years.
That is unusual.
Not only that, when the flies flew out, I would swear, she will look over, even though Lisa's got, she'll look at Tony and kind of, I'm not somebody who gets spooked easy. I've seen some things in my day. Back where I came from, it wasn't like here. I saw gunshots. I saw stuff that would give you nightmares, and a few of those things weren't easy to explain. But this creeped me out. Those flies flew right at me. They flew in my face. I would swear they were trying to crawl in my ears, up my nose. I waved them away, and I ain't afraid to say it. I may have peed myself a little and ran right back to the car.
That sounds like quite a situation. Thank you for sharing that with us, Mabel.
Weird shit happens up here. Abigail, you know that.
It's always been that way.
These kids, they shouldn't have gone down south like that. Nobody goes down there. I don't know what's up with it. I don't go. The sheriff, hell, even he won't go. Some things in these hills, they just meant to be left alone.
But there's some people who just can't help but chase the truth.
Oh, I get it. Oh, I get it. Oh. Heed my warning. Abigail, you're a smart girl. Don't get yourself mixed up in something that you're going to regret.
And there's just a meaningful look over at Chase.
I feel like I'm pretty oblivious. I feel like Chase is pretty oblivious to that type of warning. It's like he's still like seeing stars. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be amazing footage.
Amazing. And Abby's like, we're gonna die.
She reaches over and she kind of folds the folder back up, but kind of stops for a second, and she pulls that map out and kind of leaves it on the desk and turns her back. Of course, if I know anything about you, Chase, you're not listening to warnings. And she turns her back and puts the file away.
I do appreciate it, Mabel, but we'll be careful. We've got Tony with us.
Lucky for you. Y'all take the map?
Hell yeah.
All right. I think we can call our scene there. And on that dire warning, why don't we take us our first break?
Yeah.
And let's do about 5 minutes or so. We'll come back at what would that be? That'd be about 23 to the hour.
Yeah.
Okay, no, or I'm sorry, 27 to the hour. Is that right? No, 23 to the hour.
Cool. Oh, no math, man.
Yeah, I know it. See y'all shortly.
See you in 5.
We've lost Tech.
He just went into the room. He should be right back on. I don't know why he X'd out of the window.
There he is.
There he is. Do you mind if I smoke a little bit?
Well, you've seen me going like a smokestack over here, so clearly I don't mind. I never smoked so much as when
here. It's medical. What was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Feel free.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No problem at all.
Did I re-roll our window order for you?
You did.
Sorry, man.
Oh, that's no problem. I was just worried that you'd had some connection trouble, so that's perfectly fine. All righty. And there you are. Yay. So, we leave the police station, and we had some places we talked about. We talked about maybe going over to the newspaper library, historical society building. It's all one place. We also got a lead on where they stayed, which has been a while, but you know where they stayed. We know where a car was found. So, and we talked maybe about going to a bar to see if, or one of the restaurants, see if maybe somebody saw them back then. So, a few thoughts. Let's ask you, Sarah, where do you think Abigail may be? Where are you pushing for going next? You're muted, my love.
So I think Abby knows what happened and is very convinced that we have to go shoot an old lady. But
well,
if we're taking a couple steps ahead, but if we want more information, I think that checking out the Historical Society is the best way to go about it. Because talking to like hotel staff about some people that showed up 5 years ago, good fucking luck with that.
Chase, what's your thoughts there?
I think my inner drive is to get into the woods because I want to film. I think we have a good chance of filming something creepy. But I wouldn't mind interviewing the newspaper because we're in the biz together.
Makes
the
sense.
Historical Society.
You are in the biz together.
Elise, anywhere you think Tony'd be pushing for?
I think Tony also is kind of itching to get into the woods, but wouldn't mind doing some interviewing in advance. A little bit more intimidating, maybe.
It sounds like going to the Paper Historical Society Library Triumvirate is our first little stop off then.
Can I ask something of Tony? Of Elise about Tony? Does Tony think this is more of like keep these fools alive, or like are you more interested in like any like recovery closure on the story?
Do you care about?
Yeah, do you care? Right.
I'm not sure that Tony cares that much about Chase.
That's fair.
But however, Tony's been paid to make sure you stay safe. So in that sense, Tony cares, but not in like a really morality sense.
Mm-hmm. And is that still like Tony's primary thing at this point, or have you gotten kind of invested in finding these people?
So Tony is definitely really invested in finding these people because Tony believes it might lead to some clues to their past as well.
Nice. Excellent. All right, then.
How much does Tony know about like the witch and all? Because you haven't been around that long.
Tony hasn't been around that long, but Tony has been seeking out the secrets of the town.
So you'd have definitely heard the rumors about people don't go down south and something's up with it.
Def.
Okay. Well, then let's get us over to the Historical Society, and it is not far, like a block. Y'all just can walk down because it's a small town, and these are the old buildings, the sheriff's department, and it is an old building. It's brick, and you guess it probably dates back to the 1800s. Might be one of the oldest buildings in town. And it has kind of divided at the bottom. It's a 2-story deal. but it's divided at the bottom. One entrance you could see goes to the newspaper, and then the other is the Library and Historical Society. But you know the place well enough to know there's a door that connects them inside.
Got it.
And upstairs is kind of the library. The whole of the upstairs is where people can go and get books. They also are known for having families would donate their books. And so some of these date back hundreds of years. Some of these date back to the early 1800s. And maybe some even before. And then downstairs in the Historical Society, there's a bit of kitsch for the tourists. You know, they've got pamphlets, they've got maps, they've got knickknacks you can buy. It is one of the only places, because in general, the town does not like the image of, but that you can get the folk crafts of the hills. So you can get your little wizened apple doll, face doll, or the corn husk thingies, or carved shit. And it does make a little money for the Historical Society.
That and like the historic walking tours.
Right.
With all the spooky stories and shit.
Exactly. And the Historical Society is run by Polly Pritchett, the Pritchetts have been here as long as the hills. She's a little old lady in her late 60s probably. But when I say little old lady, I mean she's that image of a prim, proper little old lady. Hair in a bun and very white to gray. She always, even if you would go to her house, she definitely have on her lipstick and her blush. She always has her jewelry on. She's always that sort of little lady. And probably all of you have been in here. I'm sure that Abigail, you have been in here dozens of times, because as a kid you would have been brought here on a field trip. It's that sort of place. You'd have gotten books out of the library growing up. And I think either one, Chase, you would have been here on occasion too. Polly's a sweet person. She really is. She's nice and generally helpful. Oh, and by the way, the paper is run by a guy named Jerry Miller. He's a complete transplant. He's been here now for about 10 years. He bought the paper when he retired. He used to be an editor up in Ohio, and he is a fit gentleman. He's in his probably mid-60s, but he's fit, African-American gentleman, and he took it over kind of as there should be press. Every little town should, he believes in what real press is.
A passion project.
Right. And probably looks at what you do as, yellow dog journalism or sensational crap.
Oh my God.
That sort of feel.
I'm going to spend my one hold for someone to be a fan on Polly, if that's all right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so as you come in, we'll go in the historical side first, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. And as you come in, there's little display cases. There's pictures up on the walls. They have a thing here where apparently it's never those school studied art. It's a lot of people who are self-trained, but you see pencil drawings are very common, and they date back certainly to the turn of the century, and their portraits or their landscapes are there. There's a few even little maps and stuff up on the wall. And as you come in, Polly looks up. It's oh, Abigail, Chase, how nice to see you.
Hi, Miss Polly.
A pleasure as always, Miss Polly. How are your grandkids?
Oh, you wouldn't believe the trouble they are getting into. They're just sprouting like weeds. I tell you, it is something else. I think that the youngest one is quite bright. Might even go to school outside of the town.
Wow.
Mm.
Oh, but my grandson, dumb as a brick.
It's sorry, it takes all kinds, though, in a family.
He lifts heavy things very well, though.
That's great.
He'll never want for work, ma'am.
Abby, how's your mama?
Oh, she's doing so good. Got over the flu a couple weeks ago, but
I will have to send a note. I'm so bad about sending notes these days. It just gets out of my head.
Can you send the ginger snaps? She likes those.
Of course I can. And ginger's good. It's good for a cold.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Chase, and she's kind of looked over to you, Tony. I don't know how much you come in here. Have you come in here much?
I don't think I have ever come in here.
Okay. And she kind of gives you it's a friendly look, but it's definitely appraising. This is a woman who, she's no dummy herself. She's a clever lady. So she gives you a look and notes your weaponry, and looks back. Chase, what in the world can I do for you?
Polly, I know this might be not the best course of action, but I think we're fixing to head into the South Woods.
Chase, no, Abby, tell him that you don't do that.
I'm trying. Miss Polly won't listen.
We've been paid to look into that missing group of folks that came through about 5 years ago, and I think it would be really good for the show if we could get some material.
You see the color just drop from her face. She goes, "Oh, Chase, Abigail, you really should do that. Those young people, I feel a little responsible. They came here asking about down south, about the witch. I think I might have told them things that made them go."
Polly, you can't hold that against yourself.
But what did you tell them?
Well, I just told them the old stories and showed them some of the old books. I mean, you've heard about all the stories, but, well, some of the things that are written down, they'll just freeze your blood right in your veins. They don't tell that to the kiddies when they come in.
Polly, I think for us to be as safe as possible, I'm wondering if you could share those books with us.
Well, of course. She gets up and you see her move, back around and into a little office, and she comes out with a key. She
just leans into Tony. It's like, this is the good shit.
And she says, well, if you follow me, and she takes you upstairs into the library, and kind of in a back corner, there's a door. She opens it up. This is the private collection. Some of the oldest things we have. Wow. She opens it, and it, you get that whiff, that smell of old paper, leather. And she moves over. All of this is, well, history from early on. People will give us like journals from some of the very old families. And, I've always been one for an estate sale. You find treasures when you go to an estate sale.
That is a fact.
But, and she moves over. This particular section, it's most of the things that we have on the witch. And, I'm not the superstitious sort. The Lord watches out for all of us, and I don't think there needs to be all of these talks of haints and horrors down in the valleys. But I tell you, Summer Creek is not somewhere people should go. Strange things happen. I've read everything. And she pulls one of these books. You see, she has marked a few places, and she flips right to one. She says, this is one of the first mentions anybody has of it. See here, this is, we had to get several reprints over the years. This was written here in 1758. Well, this wasn't. This is a copy. The old one I keep in the safe. But you see, and she points down, apparently some trappers coming through, and they encountered the native people. Already they were talking about not going in that valley. Said that spirits would talk to you, would lead you to your death, or worse. Well, the legends just kept growing. She points towards that. You can read a whole bunch of them. You feel free to take a look about, but... And she pulls out this one leather-bound book, and you see on the side of it is McLean Family History, 1823 to 1911. She says, this, I think, is probably what really set them off. They asked me some questions about the McLeans, and I told them that only ones left was, well, old Granny. Clara, I suppose I shouldn't call her that. But she was even old when I was a girl. You know, she was born in 1911.
Tony is very interested in all of this.
Last of the McLeans, in fact. She was the seventh daughter of the seventh daughter. And, well, they say she was born with the Lord's hand over her face. Those of you who have a bit of a supernatural bit that probably means she was born with a caul. She still had across her face. And that is a sure sign in a lot of folk tales of the sight or gifts. She says she's the last of them ever born, in fact. Now they're all gone but Granny. Living off by herself. I don't see how she does it.
I literally don't know. No, because she has to come into town for some things, right?
Oh, you'll see her every once in a while. She'll drive that old Packard in, and she'll hit the Piggly Wiggly. She also will hit the liquor store.
Grady has fun.
Well, Gertie has an awesome car too.
She don't talk to many people, but we see her. She'll go by the feed and seed. They say she grows all sorts of things back there. Occasionally, I'll see her on the street. She remembers me, but for a woman her age, she's very sharp. Mean too.
Amazing. Can I say I want to have hit record at some point during this speech. This is amazing audio.
And it's only when she says that, she says that last piece, she's savvy enough that you notice her kind of flutter her hand over your mic, so you know that you're going to get a whole bunch of mess when that last bit goes.
Yeah.
Grandma fights.
She says, but feel free to look over everything. I better get downstairs. And she'll head off.
All right. Thank you, Miss Polly.
I'll see you on your way out.
Can I check? So is our producer still? I imagine he's just standing in the back looking at his watch, like waiting for
certainly
logging his hours.
He certainly can be. And you've got these books. This could be a moment where we can investigate a mystery. Almost might be something that we could read a bad situation on. So we could do both of those with some folks. And we have our help out move, which is worth remembering. So if somebody's wanting to kind of help out, we'll get that roll on the table and then have the roll for the actual investigator or read.
I'll defer to you two. I feel like Chase is not actually a heavy researcher. He's more of a get out and film it guy.
Yeah, no, that's my job.
Yeah, but I would help.
I'm like, I love you. You're very pretty, but you are not the brightest. You're very personable. I am a person.
Well, both of these work off a sharp. Tony, do you feel like
I would like to help Abigail research.
Okay.
Or
So
is Tech, are you doing that?
Sure, I'll need some nudging, but I would be happy to do that.
well, if we're wanting to have it be that Abigail is doing pretty much all of the roles on our searching, we'll have you do a investigative mystery first, then read a bad situation, and we'll have Chase. Why don't you help with the investigate, and we'll have Tony, you help with the read. I think that kind of plays to your more tactical and protective mind, Tony, and kind of Chase's looking for the story.
Keep an eye out on the door.
So let's have Chase go ahead and roll first for the help on your investigate. That's with cool.
All right.
And then you'll have sharp for your research.
Mm-hmm.
Which one am I doing? Sorry.
Yeah, you're doing a cool roll to help out.
Okay, thank you.
Why are none of you guys cool?
Yeah,
I'm cool.
I'm not cool.
I have plus one cool.
I'm like, oh, I don't
Not bad.
see your stats on the
Oh.
character keeper.
I
I
don't
rolled
think I
a
put-
5.
Wait.
Oh, all righty. Well, there will be no help for you on that investigate. And I'll come back to you in just a moment with that.
Did you forget how to read?
Yeah, I think I just stopped and started checking the audio of the interviews.
You just listen to it over again. You're like, this
Yeah,
is
I'm
gonna
like,
be so good.
This is so good. Oh, I can't wait to edit this.
As I've got like stacks of shit. Like
And it's
trying to
almost-
figure out.
And it's almost like you're listening to you instead of even her. Doing
Oh,
it's like, how do I?
100%.
I'm gonna have to fix this.
No.
All right,
Thanks.
so roll the investigate.
All right. Can I click on dice now? Actually, give me 2 seconds. I've got someone at the door.
Okay, then we'll hop over, I think, to your hard move there. As you're doing this, you kind of are looking back out the library, and you see coming up the stairs a hat first. See, it's got a badge on it. Then coming on up the stairs, you see the weather-beaten and kind of grumpy face of Sheriff Cole.
Boy.
So roll that investigate.
Yeah. All right. So it's a 7.
All righty. So you're going to get one question.
Mm-hmm.
And to give through, I think I've read through those already. So you could see them?
Yeah.
Okay. What would you
I'm
like
trying
to
to
ask?
figure out. Oh. What sort of creature is it? Because it's been debated whether the witch is a actual being or if it's just kind of a miasma in that particular place, just to nail down what we're looking for. And if it's an old lady we need to accidentally hurt.
Excellent. And so you're looking through these books, and you can really early on see, of course, this is a section about it, but there are a lot of disappearances over the years that go into there and don't come out.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also some tales of people who come out. 3 in particular are mentioned in the ones you find. There probably were others, but 2 of them are written in somebody's journal. One of them is that young Tommy went into the valley, and when he came out, he just wasn't himself. He was plumb mad crazy. And we had the worst problem with him. He was doing things like, well, everybody hunts, but some people seem to like it. He was out there killing probably more than we could eat.
Mm.
And then he started following the kids, following other people. We got plumb worried about it. We told people not to let him follow them around. And then, well, what he tried to do to Pa, it was right that we shot him. You can't have that sort of thing in your family. The other one is just a report, and this is where they kind of held a binder of the paper, and this is late 1800s, of someone coming out and having to be committed to the asylum up in Lexington. And the third one is in a vernacular, it's somebody's journal, and it talks about said, well, Grandpa, he never should have tried to go crawdadding up through the Summer Creek. When he came back, would have swore he thought he was an owl. He climbed up to the top of the tree. It was real sad he found out he wasn't an owl when he jumped.
All right.
So you get that information early on. You also are picking through things where, no, the locals, everything written, it is not that there's someone there. There's something that is that valley. It permeates. It is that place. And some of these old, like, people talking about what the Indians, as they refer to them then, or even older, where they're talking about the tribe or the particular group that are there. And that they believe that a spirit, ancient, even than the hills, lurks there. And one thing you hear over and over is the ground will crawl and they will speak in your mind.
All right.
I've got a good feeling about this.
I don't.
We're going to get to that kind of read a bad situation. So why don't we have Tony? Why don't you roll a help out with that one? So you'll be rolling plus cool.
So I have a +1 to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that makes it 10.
It does, yes. Excellent. So you're going to be giving a +1, and there's no consequences on that. And I'm guessing that, Abigail, you're letting everybody you're pointing out weird things as you...
Oh, hell yeah.
So probably, Tony, you're kind of catching the awfuls there and maybe pointing out some, that don't sound good, or, oh, I can, to kind of help out.
Jumping off a very tall tree.
We might want to prep for something like that.
And
I pointed something and I'm like, is your gonna do something about that?
And Tony's like looking very worried.
Now we're going to do a read a bad situation. So go ahead, Abigail, and roll that. Rolling with sharp.
Oh, yay.
And you're getting a +1 from Tony.
All right. Four. I'm looking at the dice that I have, and there's a 4 and a 1, and I want to make sure that is correct.
Yep, I believe so.
All right, because the last roll thing on Roll for Your Party just says 1 for some reason.
It sure does. It must be your last die.
8.
8, very good. Mm-hmm. All right. So you're going to get one question off of the read a bad situation. First time we're doing it, I'll read them down real quick. What's my best way in? What's my best way out? Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? What's the biggest threat? What's most vulnerable to me? And what's the best way to protect the victims? And you're also hearing boots coming up the stairs.
Are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
You're reading one of these entries, and it has a similar feel to old Tommy following around folks and finally messing with Pa. But this is a newspaper article about how they've been having some killings at the mine.
Okay.
First, they thought they were accidents, but then it became clearer that someone was doing it. Knifings. And finally, you come to them having discovered that it's Clem Smith. and that when they brought him in, and this is probably like 1902, that when they bring him in, he's talking out of his head. Seemed like he's just gone crazy. That he kept saying, they're telling me, and they're inside of me. Those families were not forgiving, and they strung him up before he had a chance to go before a judge.
Mm-hmm.
And the last little bit of this story is that when he died, said that even before he stopped kicking, the flies were on him.
Are there any flies in the room right now?
If you look around and, well, I mean, it's spring. You do see one buzzing over at the window. About this time, Chase, the sheriff looks over towards you. Well, Chase.
Sheriff, it's great to see you. I was hoping for a quote.
About what, Chase? And he looks kind of past you through and sees you, Tony, and sees you, Abigail.
With my big stack of books in the secret room.
And all my guns.
And all your guns. And probably
guns.
guns over books attracts his attention first. As he kind of gives you a look, Tony, and you would have encountered, as you've stated, you don't think you get along well with him.
I don't think we do.
And he kind of nods past you, Chase, to Tony. Tony.
Sheriff?
Going somewhere?
Nowhere in particular.
Sheriff, about that quote.
Chase, what sort of quote? What you looking into? As if I didn't know. Looking for haunts that bump in the night?
Yeah. I was wondering if you have any recollection or memory about the team of hikers, investigators, really, that came through about 5 years ago. Billy Coates.
I remember them. Their family inquired about them a few times. You know, real shame. Hate to see people wander off where they don't belong. Terrible things happen to them when that goes on.
Do you recall any of the details from that time? A lawman such as yourself, you understand the pulse of the town.
I remember they asked questions about Hanks and Boogeties. I remember they were looking to go down south. I told them that that's dangerous country. You know, there's bears up in there. Still some mountain lions, too. Bear ain't going to hurt you most of the time, but you get one cornered or between a cub, well, they'll take your damn leg off. Rocks, holes, old mines. Well, a fool can find himself in a whole mess of trouble.
Do
You're not planning on being
bears
foolish.
up there?
What's that?
You think it's just bears up there?
Oh, wow. Looking at the books, kind of casting. I suppose there's plenty of tales.
But do you think?
I think there's things that people shouldn't mess with there. If you're asking me, do I think all this bull that you try and put on screen's true?
Yeah.
I don't believe in no aliens, and I'm not real sure about ghosts. But I'll tell you, there's bad places. Energy. Trouble. Animals don't act right. Weather ain't good. That's one of them places you go down there, finding Summer Creek.
Sheriff, do you think old Clara McLean is mixed up in this?
Granny. Well, one of my first thoughts is them kids ran afoul of Granny. You know, she ain't afraid to pull a gun on somebody. And that guy that did all the talking for her, he was a regular prick.
Tony nods.
You say the wrong word to Granny, and she'll unload a little buckshot on you. Now, do I think she'd flat out murder 4 people came to her house? I went and asked her, and she said no.
Seems legit.
Well, she's an 80-something-year-old woman. She's tough as old leather, but I don't see her digging 4 graves, and I didn't notice nothing around her plot. Of course, she wasn't real friendly or open, but that's Granny. Said they did come talk to her. I asked her what she told them, and she told them the same thing I tell everybody too. Don't go up into that valley. And she said the same thing I told you. Fools do foolish things. More than likely, they fell, broke something. You know, people stupid. They won't leave the person that they got injured and come out to get help. No, they'll try and haul them along. Invariably, that'll attract something or, well, slow you down to where you run out of supplies. And back up in some of these valleys, there's no paths. That's just wilderness. You get turned around real easy in these hills.
Well, I appreciate the quote, Sheriff. Do you mind? Here's my release form. Do you mind if I use this?
No, more people should know. Stick to the places they belong.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you for your time, sir.
Was any part of that a lie?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I should have been asking this earlier, but I only remembered I had that move during the break.
He was lying when he said he did not believe in all this stuff, and you could tell that was a lie. Maybe it was brave face, maybe it was people will laugh at me, but there was a lie there. Other than that, I don't think he gave a direct lie to you.
All right.
Might have hedged a little, but he wasn't directly lying to you. He says, now, you folks ain't planning to go poking your nose where you're not supposed to, are you? I mean, I ain't going to have to worry about it. If my old man ass has to go crawling around looking for y'all, I ain't going to be happy.
Well, Sheriff, the people have to know the truth.
Do they? I found that it don't ever do them no good. It's like giving a bicycle to a fish.
We will take cautions.
All right. Well, I would say don't tell me that I didn't warn you, but, well, you go do something stupid, you may not get the chance.
Just so you know. Oh, I was going to say, just so you know, Sheriff, we're not planning on being gone long. We're not camping out there. We're just going to take a look around, maybe talk with Granny, maybe take a look out on the road where their vehicle was found. But you can expect us back in town in a few days at the most.
Where'd you hear about that vehicle?
Oh, it was a public records request.
Huh. I see. Yeah, Mavis found that vehicle out there. We returned it. Didn't find anything on it unusual.
That's a lie.
That is a lie. It is a lie that vehicle got returned to the rental agency.
Interesting.
Ooh, do lie.
Huh.
Well, seems like you've already been snooping about, so Abigail, you're a smart girl.
People say that.
Don't let this guy take you off somewhere you know better than to be. Give your mama my best.
Thank you. Let me tell you, Seraph, I am not finna die today. Trust me.
He kind of moves off and casts back over his shoulder. Tony, I want to make sure you're carrying your licenses with you.
Sheriff?
Who's gonna stop me? You?
And he clomps on down the stairs. But as he does, he looks back up. And I think I'm going to go off of that fail, him showing up. This is a part of that. Chase, I think you were closest. The others were kind of still in the room. As he looks back at you, and you're just seeing, it's like the stairwell cuts his head off. Just his head as he looks over at you. You see a fly come down. It lands right on his eye, right on his eyeball, walks across. He doesn't even blink. And he disappears down the stairwell.
So they're back in the room. I'm like, did you all see that?
What? And I'm like still flipping through books.
So I'm not embarrassed to talk about supernatural things that I've seen. Chase is not afraid to be made a fool of. I just swear I saw a fly land on the sheriff's eye. It seems like flies are mixed up in this business, and I'm
like his eyeball?
On his eyeball while he was looking right at me.
Tony's like, I knew it.
I wish the camera had been rolling.
All right. We don't gotta kill the sheriff, right? Like, that's not what we're doing today, right?
Are you gonna, Abby, are you gonna tell us about the lie that you heard?
I was just about to say, I'm like, because while I don't want him to pass, and part of me is starting to think that maybe he already has, I don't know. That's a theory for later, and but I'm not sure that car actually got returned.
Now that,
like, he was being too specific.
That's a strange piece of information right there. Maybe we should find that car.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum.
So I think we've gotten our information out of the scene. Does that seem fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have Granny's, and we still have the hotel. We have bars if we wanted to look there. Now with this car, you know where Sheriff Cole lives. That's maybe a start point or something worth looking at. Who knows? And we know the location the car was found in, which is south, very far south, further south than any of you have gone.
I have a specific question about my investigate roll.
Okay.
Did any of those 3 accounts say where specifically these people had gone, or was it just generally like south of Dalton and then they come back?
In each of it was Summer Creek. Summer
Creek. Yep. So avoid Summer Creek. Put that in my notes.
For some reason this car is really tugging at my mind. I'm wondering, but I can't imagine where to begin looking. We didn't see it. I imagine the town rusty car yard or whatever, right? The missing car yard, the junkyard is visible in town. I mean, it's not.
I mean, there is somewhere that would be like where people drop off, kind of. It's kind of landfill / it's where you take your old tractor. It's all that sort of stuff just to rust out.
Yeah.
You could go take a look there.
Yeah, let's take a drive through there. Let's just see if it's there. It's a hunch. Doesn't set right with me. Okay. What do you think?
It's better than the other option, I'm thinking. Scares the shit out of me.
What's that now, Abby? I trust your opinion. What do you think here?
Do you really think the sheriff would just let something like that sit in the junkyard? Out of his supervision?
Chase is not super bright, so he feels doesn't let you know, but he's a little chastised by that. He's like, oh, maybe not. Tony, if we were to, have you ever run by the sheriff's house or?
You probably know where it is. I don't know if you go a visiting, but you know where it is.
Yeah, I think I know where the sheriff's house is.
Let's maybe. Does he have like a long drive? Like, could we drive by his house without being on his land?
You could see it, but you couldn't see it well. He's got what was a farm, and he seems the sort of guy that would keep horses. Seems like the macho enough thing. He's a widow. Well, actually, no, I think he's a guy that would be divorced. And so he lives up there by himself. The kids have moved off. The wife didn't like being here in Dalton anyway, so she's gone. But he's got a little chunk of land. And as you leave and get into the van, you see him heading into one of the cafe diners, and it's about lunchtime, so he's probably getting lunch.
Seems like there's a little window of opportunity here, team. What do you think?
Let's go.
I think he'll shoot us if he sees us there, but we can try.
Hit him right back.
And so y'all drive out of town, and it's not super far, but it takes about, it's the sort of place that 30 minutes drive is not that far. And you get to his land, and you kind of ease to where you could see the house and maybe even go a little way up his dirt drive. Is it? Are we going to get out and look around? Is that?
I think so.
I'd like to do that.
All right.
I don't know if I'm going to be rolling camera because that would be evidence of a crime, but
you search around and you see his barn and his outbuildings, and you get the feeling this was a more active farm in the past. These are old buildings, and when you're poking around in one of his back barns, you see something car-sized, fan-sized, covered with a tarp.
Huh.
Tony, you know what booby traps look like. It might be a good idea to check that beforehand.
Want a case placed? Why don't we read a bad situation for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Rolling with sharp.
Let me know if you need help.
Yeah. No, I don't.
No. Woo! You got an 11.
Hell yeah.
wow.
All right. So, reading a bad situation, you see the questions.
Where am I looking? I apologize.
It's in the reference sheets. In the folder, you'll have Monster of the Week, Revised, Hunter, and that'll be a Hunter reference.
Hunter reference as opposed to playbooks.
I got it. Are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
Yes. You see that where that tarp is connected on, drop down, and it's tied down at the bottom. You can see that rope from the tie goes up along the wall, up to the ceiling, and you see that there's like a deadfall of hay bales for anybody who messes with that tarp.
All right, I'm going to tell Abby and Chase that it's booby trapped. The tarp is booby trapped.
Here is a question me, Sarabelle, as a city slicker. How heavy is a hay bale? Because I'm sure it is definitely heavy enough to kill a man.
This would be, a kind of good pile coming at you, and they're good 50, 60 pounds each. So, yeah, it would if it didn't kill you, it would hurt you a bunch, and it would be very hard to get out from underneath.
Yeah.
So there is something in there that he definitely doesn't want anybody.
What's your second question, Tony?
My second question is, what's my best way in?
You think you could, easily peg off the tie, probably how he does it. You can see where you can, and the rope will hold when you let it down from the tarp. And I think you probably move over to kind of get it situated. And as you get over there, you notice that underneath that tarp, you can see that there is like movements. A little cloud of flies, kind of, maybe a dozen, kind of lifts up as you get close, or it scatters, settles down. As you get to the rope, there are maybe 4 or 5 of them sitting there on the rope.
Can the other two see this?
Certainly, when you kind of look over at it, you will see that bit of flies.
I forget, Abby. Do you do camera?
Yeah, I can.
Abby, roll footage. I don't care if we're breaking the law here. We got to get this.
Just have to go and like hustle out for the giant camera.
Yeah.
I'm also imagining like a 5'4" gal with this big honkin' like 1995. She lifts.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I think it's fair to say we get the tarp up, and once you lift the tarp, there it's not like a cloud of flies, but you see flies kind of come up out of the hay, and you can see it's a white van, a rental white van, and you can see where there are fly specks just all over it, so much over it that it looks gray now. It's dusty, but not super dusty. It had a tarp over it. If you try it, you can kind of open up the back and the front. It's not locked.
Yeah, I take a peek. I do a short intro for Abby. Like, we're here on site of Sheriff. I forget his last name. Sorry,
Cole.
We're here on the site of Sheriff Cole's home, and we have found the vehicle of the Coates party that was supposed to have been returned to the rental company. And now we are going to open the vehicle and see what it contains. Come with us. Let's chase the unknown.
Oh my God, I love you.
Again, while in the back, Abby's just like, ew, 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 ew. She's like mouthing it so it doesn't get picked up on camera.
Opening it up, it's like nothing has changed since Mavis talked about it. Now, maybe stuff has been moved from, you didn't get that good a script, but all the crap she talked about is in there. You can see that in the front seat in the console, there's an old cup that's, like it hadn't even been taken out. You can see there's maps laid around in the passenger seat. And there's papers and stuff laid around.
I would like to grab the maps and papers in case there's anything, the maps for where they went, but the papers in case there's anything for the dad, right? Any proof of
notes,
what we've seen. Yeah.
And you probably don't have time to give them a real deep look.
No,
but you've collected them up.
Is there anything personal of Billy's, any jacket or something that I could show the dad?
Yeah, you see that, and they got their packs, and if you kind of look through them, you see their clothes for each of them. But like in the front seat, you can see where there is. I think you find that there is a bag, like a paper or a plastic Ziploc, and inside of that is all 4 wallets.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Yeah, I grabbed that. I'm like, jackpot. I kind of flip them in front of the camera. I'm like, this is incredible. Evidence that this group may not have disappeared the way that we were told. Their wallets, all 4 members.
You just show the IDs.
Yeah. I mean, they're not for living people anymore.
We don't know that.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's fair.
Maybe in post edit, you'll like blur the addresses or something.
Edit and post. People still live there.
Tony, as they're, camera and looking through it, you hear something behind you in the barn door. And as you look back, you see a dog. Let me check real quick here. Yes, okay. So you see a dog, big hound dog, but it is just covered in like oils knots. And there is this just swarm of flies that is circling around its head. And as it looks up at you, kind of looking, sniffing, its mouth is just hanging open. You can see slobber dropping out. But you also see flies flying out of its mouth as it lets out a in your direction.
Does it seem like the dog is in pain?
No, in fact, it is stoic like most dogs are not. There's an odd, unnatural feel. And as it kind of steps forward towards you, it has this almost jerky kind of step.
I think my instinct is to draw on it. I'm afraid of it.
You draw, and it steps closer to you, and as it does, you get a full look of its eyes, and they are completely black, except you can see inside of them, almost like pressed up against a window. Little feet and wings of flies.
Creepy.
We obviously see them draw their gun.
I imagine you might hear that. Tony, have you said anything as this dog comes in?
Yeah, I think that especially as the dog comes closer, I let out kind of like a gurgled scream.
You all turn.
Camera whips around.
As it does, this dog leaps at surprising speed since it had been so awkward towards you, Tony.
Oh gosh.
You can choose to try and avoid it. You can choose to engage it by shooting it as it comes in, or whacking it with your gun, or but those would be, one would be act under pressure to avoid it, one would be kicking some ass.
Yeah, I'm gonna I don't want to try and kill it maybe, but I want to take my knife out and try and harm it, try and kick some ass.
All right. So you quickly reach to your sheath, yanking out the gun. That's with tough roll there.
Alrighty.
This is just gonna be like when you like that video where someone crushes a spider and there's more spiders.
Okay.
How'd you do?
10.
Nice. Nice. Did you even add your tough? It would still be over 10 though. Wow, that's awesome.
Is there
All
a
right.
12 plus option for kicks mass?
It's an advanced roll, so no.
Okay.
We didn't quite get to them. With that, the assumption to begin with is you're going to do damage to each other. So you have some options though, because you roll 10 or better. You can gain advantage that can give you a +1 forward next time you roll, or a +1 to your friends. You can inflict terrible harm, doing an extra point of damage. I think your knife is 2 points of damage normally, so that'd be 3. You can suffer less harm, 1 less harm.
I'll do that one. I'll suffer less harm.
Okay, and you have your armor as well. So
do.
you slash out with this knife, and it kind of cuts across its shoulder as it's coming in like this, up across here. And it will sink in its teeth right in your side where your flak jacket is. Now, it's doing a full 3 points of damage, but you're -1, so that's 2. How much does your flak jacket take off?
2.
So it is going to just gnaw on that jacket, and you feel it like it is surprising how strong this thing is, and you kind of hear its jaw make a cracking noise like it's biting harder than anything that would feel pain would bite. Where you cut down its side, though, you don't see blood. It just sort of folds back. Flies begin crawling out and taking to the sky in this wave.
I'm still filming, but
You're filming? Chase, what are you doing?
Can I try and kick it off of her? I mean, I'm not that physical, but I'm very horrified.
You certainly can.
Cool.
You can
Slowly backing away. I'm like, get it.
there is protect someone who might give you some sort of help. Might be an option, or kick some ass.
I think probably protect someone. Sounds more in line.
Then why don't we roll tough?
All right. Tough is +0 for me. Well, that's not good.
How'd you
6.
do? Uh-oh.
Oh.
It's like a Charlie Brown Lucy situation.
I think
no.
a 6, you say?
Yeah.
6 on the dice or 6 total?
6 total, sorry.
You could maybe help if you wanted to there.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to can I spend a luck to have a success there?
You absolutely can if you want the full.
I'm going to do that. I feel this is critical. I don't want anyone getting hurt and bitten and all flied up.
Not here.
So you
not now.
Yeah. So you come over and you kind of kick at it, and it's solid. So you have to kind of like push with your foot, but you can hear it rip a little bit of Tony's clothes as it pulls away, and it goes flying off of her. And you get to do an extra effect because, well, I don't know if suffer harm. I don't think it was going to bite you, so you don't have to worry about that one. But all impending danger is now focused on you. You inflict harm on the enemy, or you hold the enemy back.
Hold the enemy back. I'm going to try and kick it somewhere a little bit into the tarp, or maybe into the car, even into the open van.
Oh, okay. I think you can do that then. So I think you kick it over there, and it kind of lands half in, half out of the back, and it's kind of scrabbling, and those flies are flying out of it. But it's kind of stuck up there, and it's going to take a minute for it to get its feet underneath it and turn around and jump back out.
Kick the door closed. I'm going to kick the door closed.
You kick the door closed. As you move up to do that, those flies, kind of where it was kicked, they trail along behind it. And as you kick the door closed, the flies just by your face, by your hair, you could feel them touching you. You feel one of them landing on your cheek and crawling towards your nose. And you hear this tiny little voice. Just let us in. Just let us in. We can make you happy forever. As the doors slam and you hear the dog against it.
We need to go.
Can I check something?
Certainly.
Would Abby know if that was a lie or not that the fly said about the happiness? And that may not even be applicable.
I know it.
It may be true to the flies.
Yeah, I think that it doesn't come across as a lie, but I think it more comes across as, it doesn't sound good. It does not ring like a pleasant thing.
No.
Even if the fly is trying to tell you the truth. Wow. But inside you could kind of hear the thumping against the door as I think if y'all are trying to move back and get away, and the thumping kind of stops after a moment, slows, and then stops. But inside of the van, you could hear like the sound of tiny things slamming against the walls and a quiet buzzing.
We need to go.
I agree. How was the footage? Did you get some of that? Do you want to do a closeout?
In the fucking car.
And so y'all get back to the van and drive away. I think for time's sake, we're going to I'm going to give you just real quick what you're pulling out from the information of their papers and stuff. You find a map where they have listed a trail. It coincides with where you saw their car. The map you pull up Mavis's and compare it. Shows the trail that they were going to, but it extends past where they found the car, down off-road and into a valley about 3 miles from where the car was. Decent sized valley according to their map, though the map has very little details. You can see kind of there's a mountain at one end of the valley, and you could see where it's marked that it has a stream there, but it sort of cuts off when it gets to the valley, and there's like nothing on this map. And it's it's like whatever survey map would be. It's just like nothing. Yeah. And then you see at the tail end of it where a creek comes back out and empties into a pond. And you could see where they've written McLean and delineated out. The pond is on the McLean land. The river goes back up, but it's their very southernmost point. And they penciled in Summer Creek over that creek.
Breathing hard in the car. Hey, are there any flies in the car?
I think invariably you've got a couple flying around.
Like, trying to kill those.
If there's like any sort of rag, Abby is like scrubbing her face with it.
Tony is just like swatting everywhere.
Excellent.
What do you think, team? Do you want to go to the hiking? How are we doing for time? Do we have time to stop by Granny's, or
are you asking in character or out?
I'm asking out of character for the session. Sorry.
Oh, I think we're good. I think we could go to Granny's. Yeah, I think it might be wise.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do that. We've seen some things here today. I'm like practicing my voiceover. All right, Granny. All right, get this exterior shot of the house. Okay, cool. Yeah.
And so y'all
drive. Have to go in there, Summer Creek.
Well, let's see what we see, but I feel like we're onto something real here. This could be big.
No, I know it's real, and that's why I'm saying we shouldn't.
Wise.
Abby, I feel like we worked together on some interesting cases here. This could be the one. This could get us back onto network television.
Cable, even.
Cable. This could get us back on cable.
TLC, here we come.
Yes.
MTV, here we come.
Tony's like, I was hired to do a job, and I'm going to finish it. Let's go.
Tony, are you okay? How's your side?
Well, my jacket's ruined. But...
I think that Abby's going to ask you to take your jacket off.
That scares Tony. Tony's like, why?
Just fucking do it, okay?
Tony is not very trusting, but Tony is like...
You can do it, or you can get out and walk back to town.
Ooh. What you think?
Tony agrees.
Pull it
Are
back.
there any sort of scratches on her arms when she takes off the jacket?
Looking there, you can see that it did not manage to penetrate that flak jacket, but there's no doubt that no dog should be able to have chewed through that Kevlar. And, it's not like it's ruined your flak jacket, Tony, but it definitely really went in and kind of did that shredding bit. And the simple fact is that it would more than likely, physically you would decide to stop from pain. And it did not seem to want to do that. But no, seems like it protected her perfectly.
All right. He's like, can I put my jacket on yet?
Yeah, I just needed to make sure that you weren't one of those things. Or we're going to turn into one of those things. I am now more worried about Granny McLean than I am suspicious that she is killing people. And if you guys aren't fucking idiots, you're probably thinking the same.
Tony shrugs back into her jacket, and she's just like, can't do anything about it while we're sitting here.
And so we get on the road.
Yep.
Driving down the highway and a bit out of town. I mean, we've gone a good bit out of town at this point. Before we hit a dirt road. At the edge of the dirt road, there's a row of mailboxes. So, everybody who lived down the dirt road would get their mail from these boxes. And all of them but one are just clearly unused, rusted out. But each of them does have McLean written on them. And you turn down this roadway, and it's an old road, so it's kind of sunken now, where it's been used so much that the sides are a little high. Mm-hmm. And as you're driving down, you look in the rearview mirror, and you see a police car, the sheriff's car, drive slowly by the driveway. Keep on going. And you drive on back through the woods, and this is, you're getting into wilderness. The road's a little bumpy, but it's old, so it's clear. But there's trees everywhere, and it's now probably about 3 in the afternoon, 3:30. But it's dim underneath all these trees, and then you see light ahead of you as you come out into a clearing. There are a series of old houses built kind of in a semicircle over a big space. All of them are they're all very old. Several of them, like the roof's down, they aren't maintained. And some of the ones that even aren't roofed down don't look like they have anybody in them. But you do see one in the middle that is kept up. You see there is a garden that kind of stretches around it. You see the porch has some flowers. There's herbs, an herb garden there. And as you come driving up, you see coming out the front door of that cabin cottage an old woman. She's, wrinkled, kind of bent. She has a gnarled stick that she's walking with. She's in a very old-fashioned black dress, has those black, chunky kind of shoes. Her hair's tight back into a bun, but despite her age, it is jet black. And as you come up, you can see her looking in your direction, and when you stop, she goes, "Hey, what you doing back here?"
Are there flies around Granny?
Yeah.
Looking around, you don't see any. And now that you as you come through that clearing, you noticed something, like the trees, just as you were coming in, you saw some things carved into them. Like symbols, maybe.
All right.
Hi, Claire McLean. Chase Stone with Chase of the Unknown. Lexington Chamber of Commerce runner-up for best show of 91.
So, reporter, are you?
Yes, you could say that. We investigate the unknown, unusual happenings.
Unknown. Abigail! Is that you back there?
Hi.
Sure, Granny. Oh, your Granny. Has your Granny passed, or is she still alive?
She is getting up there. She just turned 93.
Sure, Granny, know you're back here bothering old folks.
No, Mrs. McLean.
She looks at you, Tony, as you get out. And she gives that look over your weaponry, and she smiles. She gives she kind of nods and smiles at that.
Yeah.
She goes, "I don't talk to reporters. Reporters tell lies."
Ma'am, I don't lie at all. I'm here approaching as a friend. I'm just interested in your perspective on the happenings at Summer Creek.
Summer Creek.
Stupid.
I'll tell you, the happenings are all bad. and you will do well to stay away from them.
Ma'am, I've got to tell you, we're following up on the group. You remember Billy Coates about 5 years ago? You remember the group heading into the woods south of here?
You see her look back towards south, kind of just almost unconsciously before she looks back at you. You better come up to the porch, sit a spell.
My pleasure. Delightful.
As you get up there,
Went a lot better than I thought.
as you get up there, she kind of reaches inside the door, the screen door, and she pulls out from in there a mason jar, which has a clear liquid in it. And she'll sit down on a rocker there, and she kind of motions towards the stoop. There aren't any other chairs. Have yourself a sit down. And she'll sip off of that mason jar. She says, I remember them kids. They came asking questions about Summer Creek. I told them don't go. There's terrible things out there. I heard they didn't listen.
Ma'am, we've seen some things today, and I wonder if we could speak frankly about them. And I give her a look.
I always prefer the truth.
We've seen we found their car, and it wasn't where we thought it might be. It was at the sheriff's farm.
Cold.
And we saw some flies there. I wonder if you know anything about that. A lot of flies.
So forward. Are you taping?
I want to, but I don't think I'm taping yet because I don't want to spook her as an interviewee.
She might shoot you.
Maybe I should be taping.
She says, the only person I've ever seen go down there, be Cole. He goes out there every once in a while. I'll see him around the perimeter.
Goes down there. No one goes down there.
Nobody that's got any brains in their head, no.
Granny, how long have you known Cole?
Oh, I knew him since he was just a baby. His mama was a good lady. Birth was difficult, I led to believe, and, sour birth, sour baby, sour man.
Oh.
If he, don't surprise me none, he tries to keep people from going down there.
Well, Mrs. McLean, we are trying to find out what happened to these people that went missing.
You could see her kind of hesitating. We should probably make a manipulate someone roll here.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
I would also like to read a bad situation.
All right.
Just because I'm feeling it.
All right. Let's do the manipulate someone, and then we'll have you roll that, and we'll have Tony there. If you feel the urge to help out after the roll, we can, of either one of these, we can see how it goes.
Yeah.
2 and a 6 on the dice, and I think I have +2 on that.
You do, yeah. So that's a 10. That's very solid. She says, they come up to the edge of my property every once in a while. I see them.
The kids? The people? The what?
Flies.
Yeah.
As Tony says that, she says, yeah, they ain't them no more. I can tell because they can't cross my border. I know things. I've known things since I was a child. I know how to put the wards. I know how to walk the perimeter. I know what herbs will keep things at bay. They don't cross my borders. but I sees them.
I wonder if someone, this is out of character, I wonder if someone smarter than Chase could ask for some of the herbs, maybe?
I was going to ask if Granny knew if any of the herbs would save them.
Oh. Well, what's back up in there? I tell you, is the cancer. It gets inside you and it just eats you out. What's back up in there is like the cancer of the land. It just leaves pure evil. But, some people stupid and they go off in there, and when they come back, well, most times their family got to put them down because they ain't right no more. But my mama, she was the seventh daughter of a seventh daughter, which gives you the realization she's the seventh daughter of a seventh daughter of a seventh daughter. She says, my mama, she was wise to many things. Back when the people that originally lived here, or white folks came in and made a mess of it all, they learned if somebody wandered in there, well, they'd start hearing the voices. They'd start being tempted. Sometimes they'd fall to that temptation. Around here, there grows something that holds them back. And she kind of motions over, and you see that she has a whole line by her porch. And now that you're looking, they kind of line the entirety of her house. Pitcher plants.
Huh.
Love pitcher plants.
That's amazing.
She says, them things, they like the smell. They'll come in, but they cunning, but they ain't smart. They fall in, and the plant just eats them up. I use that a little bit rubbing around my border. That sweet juice inside. You rub it about, you say the right words. But I suppose, well, Mama said you could draw them flies right out of somebody. Now, something been in you that long, you don't come back the same. But at least your soul ain't fly food. Let's have that roll a bad situation.
Yeah.
A really bad situation.
Should I roll that, or should who?
I think that we're going to have, Sarah Bell's going to roll that, and you can help out, Tony, and
Great.
if we need it.
8 + 2 is 10.
All right, well, we're doing great in it. What questions would you like to ask?
Great. We're doing great for once. Are there any dangers we haven't noticed? I have a feeling the sheriff's mucking around.
She'll tell you. She says, look, if Cole goes in there and he comes back out, well, then he's already heard the voices. And the further you crawl back up in there, from what I understand, the harder it is to resist them voices. They'll tempt you. They'll lie to you. But worse, they'll tell you the truth.
Just turn back to the others. I really don't think we should go in there.
And your second question?
What's my best way out? If we were to.
She, let's see.
Because Cole goes in because he's far gone, but other people have made it out and they're less touched than those that get put down, right?
She'll tell you, she says, the creek, That's about the only way you're going to be able to get in or out. Everything else is just brush and brambles and trees. And, the creek itself is, well, I think it's special. It's always pure, always cold. But them flies, they don't get on it. Now, don't drink from it. Goodness sakes, don't drink from it.
And if we did,
Well, you know where bugs lay their eggs?
yep.
That's why I won't
Yep.
drink.
All right. Yeah.
I've
And
got one more question, but
yeah.
I'm going to hold it.
okie doke.
I
And,
don't feel like it's appropriate right now.
Okie doke. So, is there anything else we want to discuss with Granny? Go ahead.
I want to leave her the wallets, and I want to leave her the documents from the car, and just let her know, Granny, if anything happens in there, you might want to get these to the father of that boy that went missing.
So you're going to go.
Well,
So we're going to go?
Well, I think there's a chance here. I'm not like Chase isn't super heroic, but what I'm hearing is there's a chance we could help them out or take a look. I mean, with some
Can we borrow a picture plant? Can we borrow?
The
Borrow what?
picture pots will keep them away, but it won't fix them.
But can't we use the sugar from the pitcher plant to draw out the flies?
She did said that her mama said that she'd hold those up. Those flies would come right on out to it. And
Will
as you,
Granny lend us?
she's like, sure, certainly. I'm more than happy. If you're going to go there, you need everything you can get. She says, here. And she'll kind of reach into her boot and she'll pull out this kind of sharpened trowel. And she'll go moving around and she'll dig some of them up. She says, if you're going to keep them, you got to root them. But for now, you can hold on to them pretty good. They'll last a little while, And she's kind of walking you around, Tony. Since you asked this and she's handing them off to you. She goes, now, son. Oh, no, sorry. Because
Tony
is my head. Sorry. She goes, now, young lady, them guns you got, mighty fine shooting irons, I got to tell you. But they may not be big help to you out there. But old Granny got something that might. And she, as you walk around the back, she opens up her back door and you look in to a kitchen that's old-fashioned, like it has a pump in there, but is meticulously clean. And you can see things hung up to dry. And as the door opens, you can smell fresh baked cornbread, and you can smell some beans in a pot on the stove. But she just reaches in and just inside the door pulls back this shotgun that has to be 100 years old.
Yes.
She says, my daddy, this was his shotgun, and everybody needs to know how to shoot, and everybody needs to know how to pack their own bullets around here. This shot here got a nice spread on it. But what's good about it is when you fire it, it catches. It catches nice and, don't have nothing flammable in front of it because it puts on a mighty heat.
All right. Well, thanks, Granny. I'll be sure to take good care of this for you, and thank you for the help and the knowledge.
And she hands you, she says, "It's loaded. Be careful." And she hands you 4 more, and you can see they're packed, home packed shotgun shells. And you know your way around guns. These seem like they're well put together, well made, but they do smell heavily of gunpowder. Even sealed off, you could smell the gunpowder through them. So they're probably packed to the gills.
Well, Granny, this is some really impressive work. Thank you.
Well, cloud of flies, maybe it'll help. And when you get up, when you get to the source of that spring, that's where the evil has its real roots. Something coming out of that mountain ain't right. My mom always said, fire purifies everything.
That's good advice, Granny.
And she'll walk you on back around to the front. And she says, "Well, if I can't dissuade you, and it seems like there's only," she looks over at Abby, "only one of you with good sense, I'll tell you, be careful. And, I'll hold on to these and pass them on if I need to. Abby, you sure you want to go?"
I want to make our home safe again. It hasn't been safe for as long as my family's been here. Long as yours is, probably. Maybe we can make this better.
Sometimes things just shouldn't be kicked over, but I'll say
try.
It seems like if what you're telling me is true, it's trying to reach out of that valley. We can't have that.
If I don't come back, don't tell my grandma. She might die of fright. She probably will.
All right.
She's lived long enough for this to take her out? No.
All right, if that's what you want. She says, there's a road a piece up the way. It'll take you out as far as you can get on the road. There you have to hike in. Ain't no trail, but I can tell you this. The edge of that road just pretty much head south and down. You'll find a pond. Following it up, well, that's what you want to do.
If that's what we want to do.
And so you leave, Granny. And I suppose we're going to head straight towards that pond.
Yeah.
Now it's going to get dark.
Yeah. I've got a flashlight, though.
I've got a compass and a electromagnetic field detector.
All right.
I have nothing helpful. Only guns.
Only guns. No brain, only guns.
So
And now I'm carrying pitcher plants.
which could be very helpful. And so as you reach the end of the road, so to speak, and get out, you find that you could go over land fairly well. The trees are densely packed, but it's not like you're not having to cut your way through. Mostly pines through here. And as you get down, you see the pond ahead of you, and it's decent size, but you could certainly see the entire range around it. And it is quiet, very, very quiet. All you could hear is the creek, which is up away, coming down, and there's kind of a rivulet, like a little waterfall bit to it coming down where it's washed away the dirt to just have stone. And as it comes down the waterfall at the kind of top of it, you could see that there are some flies flying about there. They don't come down past the waterfall. Like the running water, the splash of it keeps them away, maybe. But I think now, Tony, this is really more in your forte, kind of looking over a place. I think I would like for you to give us a read a bad situation, because at the top of that waterfall, you see a man standing there. He has ripped clothes, a hat that has holes in it, but you could tell it's a safari hat. And you see that he's holding a rifle, but he's kind of slack-jawed and just staring down at you from the top of that waterfall. But as you have all gotten out, you see him kind of slowly starting to raise that rifle.
Oh gosh.
So roll me that read a bad situation.
Abby, are you getting this?
All
Shut
right.
up, please.
That is sharp.
You're very good at it. You're actually getting to roll with something different for that, I believe.
Oh, that's right. I can roll with cool for that.
That's
Ooh.
right. And you're
So I
plus
get
3.
Plus
You're
3
so
to that.
cool.
So that makes that a 9.
Anybody think they got a help on this?
Uh,
I think
Yeah.
Abby is keeping an eye out too. Again, since she is filming.
Okay.
So
I think you shift camera up and are pointing out, kind of,
it's
there
got a
he is.
zoom.
Yeah.
It's got a zoom.
Right. So you pull in close and you can see his eyes are completely black with the zoom. It's still too close to get that whatever that you saw with the dog, but they're completely blacked over. How did you... So that gives you a 10.
Oh, I didn't actually roll.
Oh, no. Yes. I'm sorry. Go ahead and roll. Oops.
4, 7, 8.
So you are going to be caught up in some potential trouble, but you give that plus 1. So you have a 10 there, Tony. So you get 3 questions.
Wow. Let's see. What's the biggest threat?
Oh, that's a good question to ask, because definitely Abigail's attention is focused on this guy. You could see her kind of adjusting the camera as she stares up at. I think Chase is probably caught on and is looking up there, but your police instincts make you go ahead and scan. And as you do, you look over and you see that a thin woman, her clothes dirty and ripped. Last time you saw her in the picture, she wore glasses, but those are gone. Her hair is wild. But as you catch her, she's down away from the waterfall and kind of looks like she's coming out of those woods to flank you. And as she steps out, her mouth opens and you see a cloud of flies begin to swirl out of it.
Oh gosh.
Your second question?
My second question is, what are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
I'm going to say that these two are your big threats. You notice this other one coming up there. You're not seeing any other people, but you're noticing as those flies are coming out of her mouth that they're moving towards you, and you begin to hear the buzzing, but underneath that buzzing, you hear a voice inside of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Come with us. Everything's wonderful with us. Just let us inside. That's a danger that there. And your third question?
What's my best way to protect the victims?
The victims being you guys, or the victims being those two?
I think in this case right now, we are the victims.
Okay. Those flies are going to be a problem, but because they're coming flying at you quickly. But you could see where guy up on the waterfall. I mean, he's going to could shoot at you, but you can looking around. You could see some rocks. You could get cover, and he would have a difficult time, at least time-consuming bit to get down. You would have plenty of time to shoot at him, and she, which is we're almost certain going to be Sarah Gamble, is off on the side. She's going to have to work her way through brush and stuff, so she can't get to you quick. So again, you could fall back to cover, and you'd have good line of sight to fire while still being well protected, and them being protected as well. Those flies, though, hard to get good cover from them. Now you can act. If you act on any of these answers, you're gonna get a +1 forward. So there's a couple of things that are actionable with that knowledge. And since you've rolled this, what do you tell everybody? What do you say?
I think I tell the team that that the flies are coming for us, that we got to take cover. Can I open one of the pitcher plants in response to the flies?
Absolutely. So you start moving them towards cover, and you're kind of digging in your thing. You pull out your pitcher plant, one of these pitcher plants, and those flies, which were kind of just in general moving your way, they pivot and come straight towards you. You could see them making a beeline straight towards you and that plant as you get duck in behind cover. Just as that rifle goes off and bounces off one of those rocks. I'm gonna have. Well, let's see. I'll go around and then I'll tell what we'll go to a thing. So Chase, what are you doing? You've got Tony pushing you to get to cover.
Yeah, I have a couple of instincts. Can I check with the party out of character?
Yeah.
I'm interested in trying a magic roll, even though that's a real stretch for Chase. But I'm thinking he may want the glory of trying to draw the flies out of them with one of the pitcher plants. Otherwise, being kind of oblivious with his back to the guy on the cliff to make sure that he's in frame, being like, as you can see, we've come across some apparently possessed victims. I'm happy for either. Like, if someone else feels like it'd be more appropriate to try and draw them out or do pitcher plant stuff, I just think he's audacious enough to try it.
Oh, I want to see where that goes.
Yeah, I'm all up for it if everybody's good with it.
Yeah. Okay.
We have luck. It's fine.
Yeah.
He's like a very reluctant hero, right? That's not his major drive, but
all right. Then this is a use magic.
Okay.
You'll be rolling with weird, and since this is this seems like small magic, normal magic, you're not doing a big ritual.
Yeah. And I have weird of +1, so
and I think you're trying for effect. You're trying to trap a specific person, minion, or monster. You're basically trying to trap the flies that are controlling one of these, right?
Yeah, the flies from Sarah Gamble.
Sarah, okay.
So here we go. That is just terrible. 2 and a 1, so a 4 total. Maybe even a 5 with at least a +1.
But is that worth a luck, or shall I hard move on you there?
You know what? I will take. I think that is worth a luck. I'm gonna take it. I think for once in his life, Chase Stone is 100% sincere and really like giving himself to this, trying to make this.
I think that as you're saying, you're kind of focusing your will and you're calling to these powers that probably Chase does not do often, but and you're kind of moved up next to Tony, who has her pitcher plant out, and I think we smell the rise of that odor from the pitcher plants. Mm-hmm. That kind of sickly, sweet, a little bit decay smell. And we see that cloud of flies that was rushing towards Tony begin moving and towards those pitcher plants. between you, and they just begin funneling in towards them. But back on the perimeter, we see Sarah, and she kind of arches her back a bit. Her mouth is open, and we see now just tons of them just flooding out, and there's this stream cloud of them coming towards you. And as they come, and they begin like bouncing kind of off your hands, you can feel them. And as they do, you hear in your heads, all three of you, we just want you with us. Just let us inside. You'll be happy. But they landing in these pitcher plants, but as they hit the pitcher plant liquid, they almost just disappear, hit the surface, and are gone. And they crawl down your arms, down your hands to get into them. And back at the back, the fly's end coming from her mouth as she collapses down and kind of gives a little like, little gasp as she drops.
I don't know if she's dead or not.
But it is your turn to act. So what would you like to do?
I think I'm going to go against Tony's advice to stay undercover and go and check on Sarah.
You run over towards her. All right, let's do an act under pressure here. Let's roll a cool roll.
Cool. I'm cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
My mom says I'm cool. Oh, that's not great. That is a 5 + 1 is a 6, but I am doing the exact opposite that Tony asked me to do.
You are?
+1.
Oh, yeah. Contrarian.
All right, so you got a 7. And that means that I am going to give you some issues here, I think.
Yeah.
You rush over, running towards her.
Yeah.
And as you get to her, you could see her eyes, and they seem like they're clearing, like that black seems to be kind of fading away, and they're getting towards normal. She's breathing, but it's raspy, and she looks up at you and she goes, "Are they gone? Are they gone?" What do you say to her?
You're back here. They're not going to try to do the weird... Was the mummy a thing at this point?
Yeah, I think well, maybe.
I don't... I was born in the 90s, so...
Oh, you sweet summer
I
child.
know, I'm a baby.
But
It's like, no, they're not going to do that, like, reverse mummy thing and go back in.
She looks at you. They said such sweet things as she kind of passes out. And that's when you hear above you a gunshot ring and feel a sharp, stinging heat in your shoulder.
Yep.
You will take 2 points of damage as you are shot in your shoulder. It's not a full hit, it's more of a graze, but boy, does it hurt.
Yeah, it sucks.
But Tony, you've got a perfect shot lined up for that guy if you want to take it.
Absolutely. Taking it. 100%.
With what?
I'm going to use Granny's shotgun.
Are you going to use the shotgun? All
You only
right.
have 4 shots in it.
True, but...
Well, it's loaded plus the 4 shots, right?
Right, loaded plus the 4 shots, so 6 total.
6 shots.
So you're pulling off 1 shot from it. Let's roll kick some ass.
All right.
And he is armed with a firearm, so I think it's possible that he could hurt you in return.
Definitely. All right. That is 8. And I get, what is kick some ass again?
Going off of tough?
Yeah.
So that's a +1 for a 9.
9. All right. And you actually are getting a +1 for going off of the read a bad situation. Because
Sorry, I think I did my math wrong. I think that +1 is just an 8, so I think that.
All right. So, well, you got a 9, but that's not horrible. You will exchange damage with him.
Mhm.
So you fire off, and this thing explodes, and so it about 10 feet out from the barrel of the gun, this wave of fire shoots out another 30 feet,
Yeah.
and you can hear like the pellets smacking against the rocks as this whole cloud sort of envelops that guy. And you hear this high-pitched, buzzy sort of shriek come out of him. But he pulls off a shot at you as well. And he's going to chunk you pretty good. He's going to do 3 on you.
Okay.
So 1 with
1 with your flak.
Alrighty.
But that you see as the cloud, his rifle fall down where he drops it. It clunk, 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 clunk down the waterfall. And as that smoke and fire clears, you see him standing there kind of looking down. And he has just been peppered and burned all the way up. But every one of those little holes in him, you see flies coming out. There's no blood. Just these flies crawling out as he keens in that high-pitched shriek at the top of the hill.
How's our pitcher plant situation?
He's still alive, man.
So we're gonna wrap back around to you, Chase. Y'all have managed to, between the two of you, and now, Tony's kind of dropped probably the pitcher plant to get your shot off with that shotgun. And the flies that you called they're just the last few of them crawling into the pitcher plant. What do you do?
I think Chase is feeling even more overconfident and bolstered. Pick up the pitcher plant, and I'm like, I can do this again. I can save them all. I can be a real hero here. Maybe not even reading the situation, like whether Werner's body is like too harmed to be mortal again, like just not feeling any of that.
Excellent.
No, stop. He's already dead.
I think for this, I'm going to have you, because you're not really casting, you're just kind of pulling in that magic you've already cast, right?
Yeah.
To try and affect to him.
Yeah.
So let's have act under pressure with weird instead of.
Yeah. Sounds good. Let's have a good roll, dice. Nope, 2 and a 2 plus 1. So that's where I'm at. You know what? Oh gosh, do I spend my last one?
Oh.
No, because then you were doomed, and it gets really bad.
Okay.
As you're kind of pulling for this, that energy surges through, and you see faster and faster through these holes. These flies are coming towards you, but then they begin ripping the holes wider and wider on his body. And you see him sort of jerking as the skin flays open. His arms kind of droop where the skin has pulled away, and his sino just holding them there. And as the last of these flies escape him, burning themselves up into your pitcher plant, what's left of him collapses in pieces off the waterfall and lands splash in the pond below.
Chase is just like not
ripped up carne asada.
Olay.
I gotta bring some humor into this, man.
But a deadly still goes over this whole clearing, except for the ragged breathing of Sarah. And way back up the valley, the trees begin to rustle, almost almost you can pick out a voice. We care about you. We want you to be with us. Let us in.
This is fine. This is not fine. I was right. We should go.
Yeah, I think Chase wipes the vomit off. Abby, is she good? Pointing to Sarah.
Do you mean her or me?
Abby, is the camera okay?
Oh, God.
No, I don't know that. Do I know that you've been shot?
You can definitely see the blood. Yeah, I mean, she's...
Oh my God, Sarah, are you?
You're the only one not shot now, Chase.
You're the only one.
Are you okay? Do you need a bandage? Do you need some first aid? Does anyone know first aid?
We did not bring a fucking first aid kit. Here's a weird question.
Uh-huh.
And this is a little bit weird, but that's what I do. I think that Abby would want to, the only thing that she has to, write with is her own blood to try to recreate some of the sigils that were around Granny McLean's place onto Sarah, because Sarah's not around, is not here to defend herself.
Excellent.
Can I offer an assist on that? So I believe one of my moves is that I can review our footage or something I've recorded in the past.
Absolutely.
Take the camera, make sure it's okay, and then
you pull up the video on the little screen on the camera, and I think so. You roll a help out, and I'll have you. I think, Sarah Bell, why don't you roll me an act under pressure, because this is. But let's roll it with tough, because you're literally writing in your own blood here. Meanwhile, while y'all go ahead and make your rolls for that, we'll see how that goes. Tony, I want to know, I think in practical, sense of having been a cop, first aid. You can try to, do you think, are you going to bandage yourself? Or are you moving over to help, God, I'm so bad at names, Abigail. I know that's what it is, but then I'm questioning myself.
Yeah, I think at this point, Tony is less concerned for themselves because Tony didn't take as much harm as Abigail. So I think Tony is going to go against the advice of the oxygen in the airplane and try and help Abigail first.
All right. So you rush over, and I think I'm going to have you do an act under pressure as well with Pool to try and staunch the bleeding and treat this wound. Okay. So, Tech, how was your roll for help?
I rolled an even 10 on the help with no modifier.
Excellent. So, Sarah Bell, how was your roll? And you're getting a +1.
I'm in danger. I rolled a 2. -1, because my tough is -1. +1, that's a 2.
A 2. All right.
Oh, mercy.
All right. And
she's already dead.
And I'm guessing you're not lucking it. So
actually, I might. I think this is the time.
Okay, you're going to choose one. How many do you have left? You haven't spent
any.
I
haven't used any.
Oh, then yeah, this is the time. Definitely.
This is the time. You said you have 3. I still have 2.
Yeah, I was going to do something terrible here. So yeah,
fuck you.
So, you copied these down, and just to give a little shade to what might have happened, you copied them correctly.
Wow.
So
this is 95. The footage was probably not super great.
Yeah.
So it's quiet. You're going to continue up the river. One of the people is now very dead. The other one is unconscious. You could leave them here or throw them over your shoulder, but right here does seem quiet. And again, it doesn't seem like the flies come down the waterfall.
Can I ask if the producer came in with us?
Is he here?
What do you think? I could roll a fate die.
Yeah, let's pop a fate
Yeah, I
die.
think so.
Maybe he would have stayed at Granny's, but if he's here, maybe we could leave him with the person here. I don't feel comfortable leaving someone unconscious at the pond, but alone.
I think that your producer came along, but I think it's easy. I rolled a 3, so that's in the very center there. I think that once you got to the edge of this clearing, they're at the back of that clearing. So, you'll have to cart them over there, and your producer looks freaked the fuck out. So you're not real sure. It's entirely possible that this person may grab Sarah and run.
That would be okay if he can. You know what? Do you guys feel okay following the creek? I might give them my compass to make their way north out of this section towards the farm, towards Granny's farm.
Are you saying that they can take the car?
No, I think to Granny's, weren't you saying? Or are you saying to the car?
Yeah, no. Are you saying that they're okay to take the car and leave?
Yeah.
I just think they should be somewhere more secure than here.
Start walking, I guess.
That means that if we make it back down here, we don't have a car.
We got a long walk.
We have a long walk.
How about they just start walking back to Granny's?
Okay.
I mean, I'll wait at the car. I don't want to look at the wood. I don't know if I want to walk through the woods with this person.
Here's the deal. I'm going to roll to manipulate someone.
Okay.
I'm going to ask them to go back to the car, and I'm going to assume the car is unlocked. We're out in the middle of the woods, but I'm going to forget to give them the keys.
Excellent. And I don't even think I'm going to have you roll. I think you could manage that. Producer's freaked out enough, not even going to inquire. So he kind of has lifted up, and she's groggy, but can kind of stumble along. And he's like, I'll wait for a while, but I ain't waiting forever.
That's all we can ask. You've been very brave today.
Those sigils should hold, I think.
Okay. Great. And so they head off as sounds like y'all are heading up the creek.
Mm-hmm.
You begin moving through, heading up, the ground slowly sloping. The creek is decent size. It's a good 10 feet across, the actual creek, and then it has its banks. You're able to kind of walk the side of it, but occasionally you have to get your feet wet. In its center, it may be 3 or 4 feet deep, so it might have a little bit of height, but it's really more of a quick drop off towards that center. So you move your way up. As you are above you on the banks, you'll see fly clouds move across, but they don't seem to want to come down into this creek. But occasionally you do notice, as there are like floating down the creek, you'll see these masses of little black specks. And one time you see where one of these has caught up against some rocks, and little tiny larval-like creatures, little maggoty type things are crawling on that rock, but you could see they're climbing their way up the bank.
I hate it here. I hate it. Should I cover this? Like, I don't want them to get...
It is bandaged up.
Okay, good.
We needed that extra pressure from you, Tony. How'd you do?
I got a 10.
Oh, fantastic. So
Thank goodness.
the bleeding is staunched, and you have healed one of those wounds.
Yay. I still hate it here.
Oh, I don't blame you. Though it's pleasant, the sun's starting to go down. It's a little chilly, but the trees are lovely. And as you go heading a couple of miles into this thing, you begin to hear those voices. First, it's a whisper, maybe not even really there, but soon enough, you're certain. Join us. Let us in. Just come up to the bank. We're waiting for you. It'll feel great. I need everyone to roll me an act under pressure. And no helping on this one, as you're all dealing with your own thing. How did we do? Sarah Bell, how'd you roll?
Yeah. Was it keep your cool?
Yep.
I rolled a 12.
Oh, you're ignoring these voices, putting them to the side. How did you do, Chase?
Oh, everyone feels the lure of power and fame and comfort. I rolled a 7 minus 1, so 6.
Excellent. And
National TV world tour.
Great. This can only be good.
These voices, the things they're promising, and you could kind of sense a little well-being. You almost get in this little bit of fugue as they're talking at you. You're going to have a -1 ongoing as these voices are speaking sweetly in your mind. How did you do, Tony?
11.
Oh, screw your buzzy voices.
Tony's very cool.
And as you continue, you could see up ahead the trees sort of thin. And you could see another, like, not full waterfall, but where the water moves down in steps. And beyond it is a cliff face and the mountain rising high above you. And it was really almost sudden that you saw it because the trees just over the top of this creek. So suddenly when they thinned, there it was. And it's black rock. At the top, there's still snow. I may be burying the lead slightly because standing there at the top of this, you see Billy Coates and you see Steve Barnwell.
All right.
Disabled, thin, emaciated, dirty. Their eyes glazed over black, mouths sort of slack. Neither of them have an obvious weapon, but as you step out, they kind of pivot their heads towards you and make this almost like buzzy gurgle. Bruh. And that's when you hear a voice as a figure steps from behind them.
Oh, shit.
I told you, folks, you really shouldn't stick your nose where it doesn't belong now.
Shoot the sheriff.
But you can't shoot the deputy.
You do indeed see Sheriff Cole, and he has in his hand a rifle, and he has it kind of like at his hip, and he looks pretty pissed at y'all. Tony, sounded like you wanted to pop a shot at him right off.
I really do. I really don't like him.
I'll say that your shotgun is not at perfect range, so you could choose to move closer to get that in range, or you could use one of your other weapons to shoot him.
I would like to move closer.
All right. So I'm going to have you move closer to get into position, but I think I'm going to have you do an act under pressure because he's going to try and pop a shot off at you.
Yeah.
As you move. So rolling with cool as you duck forward.
So a total of 6.
Not
Not good enough.
Not good enough. You want to spend a luck, or you could wait to see what the damage is, and then you could just not have the damage. But okay,
I'll spend my second luck. Yeah.
all right. So you roll fantastic, and he, bam, as he shoots, it misses you, but it hits that rock beside you, and it puts in a divot and a crack on that rock. He is using probably hollow point.
Oh boy.
Mm-mm.
But you get up there and you can take a shot at him with that shotgun. Why don't we get that kick some ass?
Yeah. $11.
Woo! All right. I'm going to tell you that this gun does a full 3.
Oof.
And he is our big monster. So for game mechanics terms, you've got to have the right thing to hit him, and you have the right thing to hit him.
Yeah.
Now, you get the option. Would you like to gain the advantage and take one forward or give it forward to someone else? Inflict terrible harm, do an extra damage to him. Suffer less harm, because he will get an exchange shot on you.
Yeah, let's do that one.
And do that one? All right. So, that first shot ricochets off the rock, but as you hold up and fire, he catches you, and he catches you right solid in the. I think we're going to have it hit you in the leg.
Oh, ouch.
And catching you probably through the meat of like your calf, and it's going to just blow out. Well, we won't. Let's actually, because we're going to play to your armor. Let's pull it up a bit. I think he's going to hit you right in the side. But that weapon, it's doing 4 damage.
Yikes.
Oh.
Take 2 off for your armor, so that's 2.
And 1 for my
1 for taking less harm. So only 1. There you go.
more harm.
Can't do that too many times, though.
Well, your vest takes most of the damage from it, and you actually kind of taking an evasive move probably would have caught you right mid-torso, but you managed to have it be more graze shot, and you could see where that thing has blasted at him, that it tears into him, and he burns, and you see like his mustache and his eyebrows burn off, and the skin splits underneath and the holes there, but where the others flies begin coming out, you see flies move in towards him and start crawling over the skin and going into the holes as he goes, "Oh, you are gonna regret that, Tony."
Whoa.
I feel like I should be reloading my shotgun.
4 more.
Yeah, 4 more.
All right.
Yeah.
Abigail, those 2 are starting to move down towards your group. What are you doing?
So I dropped the camera, obviously. Sorry.
Way.
No. I said I wanted to do one thing today to not die. And Abigail does actually have a weapon on her. She has a 9mm.
Okay.
I think just impulsively just like shoots it.
At the sheriff, or at one of those, at Chase or Steve? Not Chase, I'm sorry, at Steve or Billy.
I think like at Billy, aiming for non-vital organs, because we know they can maybe be saved.
All right. That's kick some ass. And I think in this instance, you're going to be able to get off a shot before they could get to you to exchange damage. I think you've got, distance fiction here.
Beautiful. 9 minus 1, because it's tough.
Uh-huh.
So 8.
8. All right. So you're going to hit, and it slams into him. I think your gun does too.
Yes.
And you see it hit him. Probably you're aiming for somewhere not particularly vital. You're not a great shot, but you did okay there. But he isn't going to like it because you shot him right in the knee.
Yeah.
And he collapses down, but his face registers no pain. And he's crawling now across the ground to get closer to you.
Yep.
Chase.
I think I'm still feeling the power. I'm gonna try a pitcher plant again now that we're being approached by the two earlier crew members.
All right,
there we go.
You bring it out, and I think you're going to be doing that magic roll for this one. I think we got to do it again.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm into that. What's magic is weird, and I think I'm weird +1. So. Oh, nuts. I just rolled the dice roller. I mean, I just closed that tab. Oh, there it is again.
Yeah.
Give me just a second.
No problem.
Come on, dice. That's not great. So a 7.
7.
I rolled
All
a 6 plus 1.
Do you have luck?
Works imperfectly. Yeah.
No.
I have problematic luck.
Yeah. It works imperfectly. Choose your effect, and I think we're doing again that it's either trap or it's banish a spirit or curse from a person. So it's right in that area, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I am going.
What you think?
It's weird to value folks differently, but I think we're here for Billy. I'm going to try and cleanse just Bill. Is that fair to do one and not the other?
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
going to shoot for Billy here.
Okay. So I think your glitch then is that it is weakened, so it only goes after one of them instead of pulling all of them.
Yeah.
So this first one you've managed to pull from Billy, and you see again that kind of him, and the flies begin rushing out as he falls to the ground, kind of screaming. And again, they just all around you, touching you as they filter down to the plant. This time they're saying, no. Did you take into effect your -1?
I did not. This is maybe a failure. Yeah. That was right on the edge, right?
You were a 7, weren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Problems.
Now the question is luck or no.
What are the effects of using all your luck? I don't.
It means you're doomed. It means I get to do pretty much hard moves at you instead of soft moves.
Whatever the frick he wants.
You could just have the magic not work. And I get a hard move, but not a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take the luck.
I will document your death as early as I can.
Yeah.
I think then it feels for a moment like the magic isn't there. And you could hear those voices in your head. Yes, come to us. But something inside of you steals you to this. And maybe there's another voice. You hear an old lady. Don't listen to them fuckers. All on them. Get them out of there. As both Billy and Steve collapse down, and because you got a full 12 then, and you begin pulling these flies to the pitcher plant. But as there's so many of them coming at you, you feel them kind of biting at you this time. There's so many. I think I'm going to go ahead and give you, let's take a harm for that. Just right now, as these little bugs are biting at you. We get to you there again, Tony. Sheriff kind of closing back together, and you see he's now reached down and he's pulling out his pistol because he kind of dropped the rifle when he got shot. But what are you doing?
So I've been trying to reload my shotgun. And once I get it reloaded, I'm going to try and get off some more shots at him.
I think I've got to kind of do that sequence again of let's do an act under pressure to see if you can get it loaded before he takes another shot at you.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yes.
So that's a 14.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, you see that he wasn't, that first shot that he, where you're reloading, he doesn't take a shot at you. In fact, he has moved his pistol over and is aiming right at Chance.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
I mean, because he's seemingly doing this with the fly. He's decided that that's the biggest threat to him right now. But you're going to get to take a shot at him.
Alrighty. So I'm going to roll kick some ass.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I get a good roll.
Take numbers, no whammies.
That's an 8.
Okay.
I'm going to use my last luck.
Oh.
Why not?
True. I mean, an 8 will hit. You just be trading damage. But okay.
All right, I'll stick with the 8.
You
Okay.
can have him shoot Chase. It's fine.
That may not be what happens. It's going to be an exchange between the two.
All right.
But,
I'll stick with the
all
eight.
right. So with the 8, you're going to do your damage, which I think is 3. I think was what I told you with the shotgun. So 3, and it's going to slam into him, and he's going to fire that pistol back at you, and he's doing 3 damage with it. So take off 2. You take 1 damage. Does that take you to 4 now?
That takes me to 3.
3. Okay, so you're not unstable yet. But where that buckshot blasts into him, you can see it. He staggers back, and it's kind of like, just by reflex, he shot you, and he tumbles forward down this cliff face, down the where the creek is coming, and as he hits the ground, he sort of bursts as these flies lift up out of him, and in this massive swarm begin descending over towards the group of you, but in particular Abigail and Chase. Since y'all are kind of back there, they're rushing towards you. Abigail, what do you do?
This might be dumb, but I think this works. Because she loves this town and she loves her home. And I think she's going to try to talk to them as they've been trying to talk to us. And say don't you understand this is hurting people? This is hurting this land. And we want to make it good, just like you want to do good, right? And I'm using magic to try to communicate with them.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if they can be reasoned with, but
you definitely are better off going with magic than trying to manipulate here. So let's have you roll that magic. Roll it with weird. How'd you do? Did we lose you? Oh. Sarabelle, you still there? Oh, hell.
Hell. Oh. Just as an ambulance goes by.
Oh. How did you roll?
I rolled a 10.
Rolled a 10. Oh, that's fantastic.
Thank goodness.
As you kind of are reaching out to them and trying to say this to them, I think because we're here in our time, I think that there's this moment where they stop, they cloud there in front of you. And then they begin moving away. And the voices, we have been here since the beginning, since before your 2 legs walked this land. Tell people to not disturb us again, or we will devour them all.
Okay. You heard him. Let's go.
And as they pull back, you can see at the top them form into this shape, this massive swarmed shape. It is like a gigantic multi-legged creature, but it's just made up by all of these flies. And that swarm leg kind of steps over the edge down to the creek. And for a moment, all of you feel something so old, something so primordial. It was devouring the dinosaur corpses. It was there in the beginning, and it will be there in the end. And you turn tail and run. And that is the silence of the woods. I hope y'all enjoyed it.
No one died.
No one died. I did some
Very
damage
close.
there.
I got very close.
Your toughie got was able to be good and take some damage. Chase, you did great things to avoid being killed. Abigail was by far and away the most practical. Excellent. Now, we are at time. If folks have a moment or two, I'd love to do a stars round just to kind of wrap us up.
Mm-hmm.
If you have maybe 5-10 minutes. Stars are normally there's a process of stars and wishes. Wishes aren't really applicable so much in this because we won't be doing that again. But feel free in your stars to kind of talk about what you think of the system, what you thought of the adventure. If you do have any suggestions for how I ran it or anything, I'm happy to hear it. I could always take a hit. And of course, primarily it's saying awesome things that you saw from your fellow players and what we did tonight. And I'm going to go back to my original around the clockwise, though we're in a little bit different order. But we will start with you, Elise. Would you like to give some stars?
Yeah, I I really liked Abigail's practicality. That was kind of like I felt like it was holding us together. I'm not sure we would have made it out without that. And then Chase with the magic rolls, like getting the pitcher plant magic was really, really crucial. I also tend to play kind of fighty characters, so this was right up my alley, and perfect for me. So I had a lot of fun. I also really like how you describe everything. It really put a nice picture in my mind of like I think like how you want us to see it. And obviously I have input in that too and in my picture, but it was really I found it really descriptive while still being engaging, which I appreciate.
Cool. Thank you very, very much. Sarah Bell, any stars?
Yeah, always. Always stars. Elise, I loved Tony's like fascination with the supernatural, but also kind of not knowing how to handle it. And just like, oh, these two weirdos fucking know what's going on. Yeah, I guess. And really coming in clutch when we needed it with the firepower, literally. And I didn't think Chase would be the one to be using, like, to be doing the big magic rolls. Just weird, dumb little Chase. And I loved it.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Tech.
I had a really fantastic time with this crew. I really love how we had 3 very different characters, and I think sometimes in a game that can be a challenge to gel, and it was just really, really fun to work with these characters that had like different goals and backgrounds. I think it gelled so well. That was really great for me. And Tyler, I love the descriptions, and I actually found, so I think I'm such like a horror tough guy, but with some of the fly descriptions, I actually felt like a little bit sick, and I love that. I don't think that's a negative at all. I was just like, oh, and that is like perfect for me. That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I want to say, you guys came in and just nailed it. It felt like these characters, like you say, they gelled quick, but they all were really distinctive play. I thought, at least I really liked Tony. I would like to see more of what Tony does. There's a whole adventure-y bits to what to Tony out there being this gun for hire, and I just great role play. Sarah Bell, you are delightful. You personally and your character was perfect. Having someone who says, maybe we should not do this is so important.
Yeah.
And it makes it so much more real, and I loved the inquisitiveness out of the character. I thought it was really neat in those scenes. There were such sweet things. The interactions you had with the NPCs were very sweet and interesting, and it was overall delightful. And heck, I love that this character was really pretty complex. I mean, there was such on the onset, you see, you kind of describe him as this fairly superficial person, but when it came down to it, was brave, was able to think on his feet. I thought it was a nice complex character, and that's fun to see. And it's really hard to do when we're in such a limited time. So you found that nugget, you found what was solid in that character, and you ran with it. And just applaud.
Thank you.
I want to say that Monster of the Week, I think, is a great game. Love it. So big old star to it. And I'm going to end our broadcast here in a second. But folks, if anybody's watching this, feel free to check out some other stuff by YouTube channel. I got a lot of games up there. Or check out things from the Gauntlet. We post games all the time to play. You can have APs. We have a ton of them out there. We even have some that are converted to podcasts. So if you're just sitting at work, you can listen to some great gamers do some cool things. So go out there, and if you enjoyed this one, watch more.